Hello and welcome to Stony Brook Field in Brewster, Massachusetts, the site of today's Cape Cod Baseball League matchup between two teams who are looking for a big win. Brewster and Kettleers, the Whitecaps and the Kettleers, matched up against each other for this evening's ball game. I'm Carter Woodeel alongside Maura Sheridan. Aiden Doyle will be hopping on the broadcast a little bit later on as well. And Maura, the Brewster Whitecaps haven't won a game in a week. It's pretty simple to state, but there's a lot more of it's gone into it. Can you see from the way this team is approaching things right now after obviously the off day yesterday when they went up to Fenway? What do you think has to be the mindset of this club going into this matchup with a very good Kettleers team?
Well, this is a team that absolutely needs a win. As you mentioned, they haven't won in a week, and they need it for morale reasons too. It's getting towards the end of the year, and every time I talk to Coach Shevchik, he says the energy's just down in the dugout. Hopefully the day off has kind of brought that energy up. Everybody should be well rested now. There's been two kind of off days, as they had Saturday off for the All-Star game too, so there's really no excuse for this team. They've had plenty of rest now at this point, and I think Shevchik seemed pretty optimistic, but again, this is a Kettleers team that has beat them 3 times already this season, so a tough matchup for the Whitecaps today.
Yeah, the last time Brewster took to the baseball field was, as you mentioned, more a couple of days ago. They were in Hyannis to take on the Harbor Hawks, and it was a loss that was kind of endemic of the rut that Brewster has found themselves in this past week or so, losing it 2-1, actually out-hit the Harbor Hawks 6-5, but weren't able to get the big hit to drive in any game-winning run in that ball game, and so Brewster lost once again in that final score 2-1 against Hyannis. Here's the lineup that the Whitecaps will be sending out today. They're trying to gain some ground on Chatham. Right now, Brewster's in fourth position rather in the East Division standings. They're even with Chatham in the loss column, but they're behind by a couple of points thanks to some ties and how all that works out. For Brewster, Steele Walker is back in the lineup at the leadoff spot. He was dealing with a little bit of Achilles soreness, left the game early yesterday, but he's good to go today. He's back in, and he'll be back in his traditional position of center field for the Whitecaps. Chandler Taylor will be playing right field and hitting second. Batting third will be Marty Costas. He'll be out in left. The 3 outfielders making up the first third of the Brewster lineup today. Michael Curry, the designated hitter, will hit in the cleanup spot. No Mickey Gasper in Brewster's lineup today. Kyle Datris is hitting fifth and playing third base. Julian Infante, the first baseman, will hit in the 6th hole. Justin Coons is behind the plate for Brewster, batting 7th. AJ Graffinino will hit 8th and play shortstop. And rounding out the Whitecaps lineup will be Christian Malfetta, and he will be over at second base. Maura, it seems like the Whitecaps kind of need somebody to come in and step up. A couple of regulars not in this lineup. What do you see? Take me inside of what Shevchik was doing when he was putting this lineup together.
Well, I think it's always nice to see Steele Walker in there, as he's been pretty hot for them lately. He hasn't been back for long, but he seems to make an impact every time he's in the game. So that's somebody you want to see in the lineup every day. Good to see him back. And then Chandler Taylor and Marty Costas, these have been 2 guys that have also come up in clutch moments for them. So those are guys you always want to see in the lineup. Without Mickey Gasper, it should be different offensively, but this is a very capable offensive team. It's just sometimes there's lulls with the offense. It seems like every couple of games the offense kind of just takes off and doesn't really show up.
And for a little more on Steele Walker, let's send it over to the third member of our crew, Aiden Doyle. Aiden?
Thanks, Carter. Well, Steele is back in the lineup. I talked to him before the game, asked him how he's feeling. He said, feeling good, man, feeling good, ready to go. Seems like a very outgoing, positive attitude from the Oklahoma Sooner. But talking about lineup construction, though, Shevchik and actually assistant coach Jason Kanzler constructed this lineup together. They are talking about actually factoring in the fact that Stony Brook Field doesn't have lights, in that if this is a game that potentially, because it's been overcast most of the day, gets called early, trying to maximize the amount of at-bats for the people at the top of the lineup, so that if it's a close game in, let's say, the 7th or 8th inning, someone like Chandler Taylor or Marty Costas gets that extra at-bat at the top of the lineup, batting in the number 2 or number 3 spot.
That makes sense. Thank you so much, Aiden. Brewster, it's been almost 2 weeks since the Whitecaps won a 9-inning game. That was back on July 12th, the last time they won it. They had a couple of shortened games. That miracle win against Harwich was shortened. That weird game against Falmouth in the rain was shortened. And definitely with the weather today, it's cool, it's overcast. It doesn't look like we're going to have a ton of light. So that kind of makes sense, doesn't it, more the way that they're setting all that up?
Absolutely. The sun kind of peeping out right now, but it is supposed to get dark pretty early here at Stony Brook Field, and we've seen it happen so many times this year. It's always even a question, even when it's a nice day, whether or not we can get the 9th inning in. So it should be interesting, and that's a very smart move by Shevchik and his staff.
All right, it's time for the national anthem here at Stony Brook Field, so we'll step aside for a quick second. When we come back, we'll get you set on Cotuit's lineup and a little bit on the Whitecap starter, Tony Losi, and of course, we will have baseball here from Brewster. Don't go anywhere. This is Whitecaps Baseball on Lower Cape TV Channel 99 and streaming live on YouTube.
Gentlemen, Kerry Tully.
We welcome you back to Stony Brook Field, getting you set for Whitecaps and Kettleers here from Stony Brook Field in Brewster. I promised you Cotuit's lineup, and here it is. Griffin Conine will be leading things off, and he'll be playing right field for the Kettleers. He's had a terrific season, 8 home runs, which is the most in the league. Grayson Genesta, the center fielder, hits second. Michael Toklia will bat third and play first base for the Kettleers. Taryn Vavra, who's been heating up recently, will hit in the cleanup spot and play second base. Brett Kinnaman, the left fielder, will hit fifth. Luke Alexander, the third baseman, hits him a sixth spot. Chandler Avent will hit seventh and plays shortstop for Cotuit. Zach Cohn, the DH, bats eighth, and the catcher, Gian Martellini, will round out the Cotuit lineup. And for the Whitecaps, as we mentioned just before we went to break for a minute there, Tony Losi will be the starting pitcher. You can see him over on Lower Cape TV. Losi, so far this season, it's been kind of an up and down year for him on the mound, depending on where his locations have been. He's got terrific stuff so far on the season. This is his sixth start of the season. He's also made one appearance out of the pen. A 3.80 ERA, 26 innings pitched, 25 hits allowed, and 30 strikeouts, which is the most on this Whitecaps team. What should Whitecaps fans expect from Losi today, Maura?
Well, every time we see good command from Tony Losi, he strikes a lot of guys out. But as Coach Jamie Shevchik says, and I know this isn't his favorite word, but he can sometimes be kind of inconsistent out there. He does, tend to give up. He gave up a couple of hits in the last time, 6 hits. But it's just about him getting command out there, and when he finds it, he has been very successful for this team. And with a depleted starting rotation, they're going to need him to step up and kind of be the man for this team.
Losi can get that fastball up to the mid-90s, sits around 92, 95, and that is his primary weapon as Conine will dig in And here comes the first pitch. And it just misses. Oh, no, it's in there for a strike. So says Larry Rosenberg behind the plate. A bit of a delayed call from our home plate umpire. He's joined by Mark Chamberlain at first base and Mark Delaney at third. The 0-1 pitch misses outside. So 1-1 the count on Griffin Conine, who's hitting .317, 8 home runs, 27 runs batted in. Those latter two figures, as I mentioned, are tops on the Cape. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. On the offering from Losi, 1-2 is the count. An early thing to keep an eye on with Tony Losi is whether he's able to locate that fastball. He always likes to kind of put it right on the outer corner. And a pitch like this, here comes the 1-2 offering. It's fouled away toward the left side. And Losi, I think you have to give a ton of credit for him when he hasn't had his best stuff. He's been able to battle through. We've seen a couple of times this year when maybe another pitcher might have folded and wind up gotten removed from the game. He's been able to stay in it as time is called by Larry Rosenberg at Griffin Conine's request. Looked like Tony Losi had already gotten into his motion there. The leg was up, but aborted the pitch. So we'll do it again. Here comes the 1-2 offering. Fastball hit high in the air, foul ground behind the plate. That one just stayed a little bit up, maybe above the letters perhaps, but it's fouled away, and the count is 1-2 strikes on Griffin Conine. Conine, the man from Duke University, a co-MVP of the All-Star game a couple of days ago. 2 Blue Devils were honored with the MVP awards. 1-2 pitch misses outside out of Losi's hands to make the count 2-2 strikes. As Maura mentioned, it's been a while since these two teams have met. Here comes the 2-2 offering. It's hit hard into the area, right center field. Will Walker moving to his left, and he's going to let it drop in front of him for a base hit. So Griffin Conine does what he does best, and that's hit the baseball hard. A leadoff single to start things off for Kettleers. We'll get you set on the Brewster Whitecaps defensive unit today. In the outfield, it's Marty Costas in left. We saw Steele Walker in center. Chandler Taylor is in right field. In the infield, third to first, it's Datris at third. Graffinino's at shortstop. Malfetta is playing second base. Infante is the first baseman. And Justin Coons, who's a terrific defensive catcher, will be behind the plate for the Whitecaps. And now it's Grayson Genesta's turn. Genesta hitting .330 on the season. 3 home runs, 15 runs driven in. The pitch misses low to make the count 1-0. Genesta's done an excellent job getting on base. .413 on base percentage, which is the best out of any of the Kettleers in the lineup tonight. Runner on first base and nobody out. We're in the top of the first inning of a scoreless game. Just underway here on a chilly day at Stony Brook Field. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Just misses with the fastball there to make the count 2-0 strikes. Brewster coming into this game at 15, 18, and 2. As we mentioned, in the midst of a 5-game winless streak are the Whitecaps. Kettleers at 17, 16, and 1 as the 2-0 pitch is fouled back to the screen, more toward the third base side behind home plate. And so the count is 2-1 on the man from Wichita State, Grayson Genesta. Genesta, a rising junior out of DeSoto High School in Kansas. Here comes the 2-1. A chopper toward the right side. Could be 2. Malfetta fields, flips to Graffinino for 1. Over to first base. It is in time for the double play. That's just what Tony Losi needed. A slow chopper, nicely fielded by Malfetta at second, and it's a 4-6-3 DP for the first 2 outs of this ball game. And now it is Toglia's turn with the bases clear from a double play. Michael Toglia hitting .226 on the season. 2 home runs, 15 runs driven in, getting on base about 29% of the time for the Kettleers. Here comes the 2-1 offering. Checks his swing, and a pitch that was called for a strike anyway at the knees to make the count 0-1. That's the sort of pitch that Tony Losi likes to throw. It's a heavy fastball toward the knees, and if he can locate that, the stuff is plenty good to mow some guys down. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Fouled straight back. Just fought that one off, it looks like, did Toglia. That one on the inner half of the plate. And now Losi's got him right where he wants him with the count 0-2. There are 2 men out here in the top of the first inning. No score yet. The pitch. Misses high and tight to make the count 1-2 strikes on Toglia, who hails from UCLA. Waiting on a 1-2 pitch from Tony Losi, and here it comes. Misses outside. Counts 2-2. Coons looked like he was setting up right on the outer edge, but missed outside. Did the fastball from Losi. And here comes the 2-2 offering. Fouled away. That one got up a little bit. The count remains 2-2, and Losi continues to battle. We've seen this, I think the past couple of times, Losi has taken the mound more, where he's gotten into some long at-bats. When you throw a lot of fastballs, guys can start fouling stuff off. 2-2 is the count. And here comes the delivery from the Georgia Bulldog. Just misses low. Losi thought he had strike 3, took 2 or 3 steps away from the pitching rubber. It was right where he likes to throw that pitch, but it brings the count full 3-2 as Larry Rosenberg was not giving him the call. So 3-2 the count. 2 men out. Top of the first inning, no score. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. It's hit high in the air to center field. Seal Walker moving back, still heading back. Looks like he's under it, and he makes the catch to retire beside. Another hard-hit baseball, but that one hung up in center field. The wind is blowing in at Stony Brook Field today, which is a little unusual for this ballpark. And so that retires aside. The Kettleers, Losi only faces the minimum. They get 1 hit, and they don't leave anybody on. No runs allowed by Losi in the top of the first frame. At the end of the half, it's Kettleers 0 and Brewster on their way to the plate. This is Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on Lower Cape TV, Channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. Back here at Stony Brook Field, Austin Kitchen is the starter for the Kettleers today. He's just finished up his warm-up pitches. Kitchen, a rising junior out of Coastal Carolina. He's more of a bullpen guy. This is the first start that he's made on the Cape this season. Didn't make a start last spring for the Chanticleers either, so not expected to go particularly deep into this ball game, but Mike Roberts is doing a little starter by committee today, it seems. The numbers on Kitchen, his ERA is .435. It's been hampered by a couple rough outings. 10 1/3 innings pitched so far this year, 17 hits allowed. He has given up 2 walks and 11 strikeouts to his credit in those 10 1/3. And Steele Walker will lead things off for the Whitecaps here in the bottom of the first. The first pitch is in there for a called strike at the knees to Walker to make the count 0-1. Kettleers did not score in the top half of this first inning, so we are scoreless here in Brewster as the top of the Whitecaps order steps up. Walker, Taylor, and Marty Costas. Again, no Mickey Gasper in the Brewster lineup today. 0-1 pitch is lifted in the air to center field. Moving over to his left is the center fielder Genista, and he makes the catch with a couple more steps over toward right center. And that retires Steele Walker for out number 1. We'll get you set on the Kettleers defense in this ball game. Brett Kinnaman, who's terrific defensively, is out in left field. Genista, we saw, is in center. Griffin Conine is the right fielder today for Kettleers. Luke Alexander is over at third base. Chandler Avent is the shortstop. Taryn Vavra at second. Togli as the first baseman. And Gian Martellini will be doing the catching today for the Kettleers. And here comes Chandler Taylor. The first pitch to the lefty from Alabama. just misses the outer edge, despite Martellini's best effort to frame it. So the count is 1-0 on Taylor. Kitchen gets the sign he likes, working pretty quickly here. Here comes the 1-0 pitch, swing and a miss. Out in front of that one was Chandler Taylor, and the count is 1-1. Kitchen doesn't have a ton of velocity. His fastball usually sit in the high 80s, 88, 89. And he's got a breaking ball and a change, and he throws it all for strikes and gets a lot of outs on the ground when he's working well. The 1-1 pitch is hit hard through the middle, base hit center field. Chandler Taylor sent that baseball right back where it came from, and he reaches. So the Whitecaps have their first hit of this ball game.
Well, that's exactly why Chandler Taylor's hitting in the number 2 spot today. That's what Aiden told us Jamie Shevchik wants from the top of his lineup. He's expecting this game might not go 9 innings, and he wants the guys at the top to start hitting, so because they'll be the ones that come up to bat the most today.
And now here comes Marty Costas, and you're right, Maura. This is Marty Costas hitting third in the order is a little unusual, but on a chilly and cloudy day here at Stony Brook Field, he is hitting third. And hitting from the right side, as usual. The pitch misses low. So the count 1 ball and no strikes on Marty. The average for Costas this year is .239, which is extremely deceiving. .391 is his on-base percentage, and he has 5 home runs, including a few very clutch homers for the Whitecaps. 1-0 pitch is hit high in the air into right center field, tailing toward right center. The center fielder, Genesta, will make the catch on the run. Nice play there by Genesta to keep his eye on that baseball. It was tailing away, and a cloudy sky makes that a little bit more difficult. But Costas is retired after hitting the ball pretty hard. 2 gone here in the bottom of inning number 1. And now Michael Curry will take his hacks. Curry getting back into the lineup as Brewster's DH, with Justin Coons doing the catching for the Whitecaps today. The Cape League All-Star hitting from the right side. Taylor's aboard first base, 2 men out, bottom of the first inning, no score yet between the Whitecaps and the Kettleers. And here comes the pitch from Kitchen. Fastball that misses low. The count is 1-0. Curry so far this year has done a terrific job of just plain getting on base. .441 is his OBP. Has 1 home run and 11 runs driven in, though he also has a home run in the All-Star game. That's not here on the scorebook. 1-0 pitch coming. It misses low. That was a solo shot from Michael Curry, and much like the one that happened in a game that counted, it was just a line drive shot just over the left field wall, or just turned on a baseball. Might be difficult to do that today in these conditions. It's a little chilly, and the wind, as I mentioned before we went to break in the top of the first, is blowing in, which is pretty uncharacteristic. We're used to seeing the wind blow out here at Stony Brook. The 2-0 pitch is hit hard into right field. That one is going to dunk in there for a base hit. Chandler Taylor is hustling around second base. He will get into third without a slide, and it's a base hit for Michael Curry, and it's first and third, and 2 men out now for Kyle Datris. That's a big hit there for Curry to give the Whitecaps a runner in scoring position, and Datris will dig back in. It's the first time Datris has seen action in a little while. His sister got married, and so he was away from the team for a few ball games, but now back in there at third base, his usual slot for the Whitecaps defensively. As he digs in a little bit, the grounds crew here at Stony Brook Field put out, if you're watching on Lower Cape TV, you might see a little bit of a halo around the batter's box area and the pitcher's mound. They put some extra sand on there. We've had some rain the past couple of days. The pitch to the righty, Datris is cut on and missed out in front of that one. Was the man from North Carolina. 0-1 is the count. Datris is hitting .238 with a .375 on-base percentage for the Whitecaps this year. No home runs and 5 runs driven in. It's first and third and 2 men out for Brewster in a scoreless game, bottom of the first. The pitch. Swing and a miss again. Looked like a very similar offering there from Austin Kitchen on the mound, but he fools Datris a second time. And the count is no balls and 2 strikes on the man from North Carolina. Brewster trying to take advantage here of an early scoring opportunity. 0-2 pitch coming along. And misses outside to make the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. They had a few of those, maybe just a few of them in that last game against Hyannis. Whitecaps in that ball game left 6 runners on in that 2-1 defeat in their last ball game 2 nights ago. 1-2 pitch. Is hit high in the air into right field. Moving back is the right fielder Conine, and he will make the catch after taking a couple of steps in to retire the side. So it's 3 flyouts for the 3 outs in the Whitecaps in this first inning. They get a couple of hits, but they fail to score, leaving 2 runners on base. We're through 1 full inning of play now at Stony Brook Field, and we are scoreless. You're watching Brewster Whitecaps baseball on Lower Cape TV, channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. Back here at Stony Brook Field, we're beginning the top of the second inning here between Cotuit and Brewster. We are scoreless so far. Tony Losi faced the minimum in the top of the first, so he will face the 4, 5, and 6 hitters this time around, starting with Taryn Vavra, the second baseman for Cotuit, on Mike Roberts' lineup card today. And here comes the first offering from Tony Losi. It misses down and away. Vavra hailing from Minnesota. As I mentioned when I was reading off the lineups, he's been heating up recently. The past 4 games for the Kettleers as the 1-0 pitch comes along. It's fouled away to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike. He's hitting .500, 6 for 12, which is best on the team. Also has a pair of walks and 3 runs driven in, which is tied for second on the team during that span, the past week of ball games for Cotuit. Here comes the 1-1. It misses outside to make the count 2-1. On the season, Vavra is hitting .306 with a .409 on base percentage, has 5 runs driven in, is still waiting on his first homer of the season. The man from Minnesota. The pitch is hit high in the air, foul ground, tailing foul left side. And so the count 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Vavra, as Losi early on is working quickly here out of the windup for the Whitecaps. 2-2 the count. And here comes the pitch from Tony Losi. It bounces in the dirt in front of Justin Coons. A nice job by Coons to block that one, even if there wasn't much at stake. 3-2 is the count. Kinnaman and Alexander will be the next 2 hitters due up for the Kettleers in this ball game. Here comes the 3-2. It's a slow ground ball through the middle, and it will get into center field for a base hit. Took a kick off the pitcher's mound, did that ground ball, and right through the center of the infield. So another leadoff single for the Kettleers here. They're second in as many innings, and Vavra is aboard. That'll bring up Brett Kinnaman. Kinnaman from NC State. One of the more impressive defensive players that you're going to find on the Cape is in the outfield, the left fielder for Cotuit. Hitting from the left side against Losi. The pitch misses low to make the count 1 ball and no strikes on Kinnaman. On the season, he's hitting .225, a .365 OBP, 1 home run, and here comes the 1-0 pitch. Just misses, just a bit outside to Brett Kinnaman. So far, I think we've seen a pretty tight plate from Larry Rosenberg behind the dish so far in this evening's ball game. Vavra is aboard first base with nobody out. We're scoreless, top of the second inning here in Brewster. The pitch is in there for a called strike. Losi got a ground ball double play to erase that leadoff runner in the first inning. It's going to be tough if he wants to get one here. Kinnaman is not an easy guy to double off. 2-1 is the count. Losi comes set. Here comes the pitch. It's hit high in the air towards shallow left center field. Coming in is the center fielder Walker, moving to his right. He's under it now, and he makes the catch for out number 1. Nicely done by Steele Walker, who never is quite fazed by an option in the outfield. Always nice and relaxed out there. And that's the first out of the second inning. And that'll bring up Luke Alexander, the third baseman for Kettleers. From Mississippi State, the rising junior, originally from Belmont, Mississippi. Runner on first base and one man out for the Kettleers here. A scoreless game in the top of the second. Alexander's hitting .244 on the year, a .294 on base percentage, 3 home runs and 12 runs driven in for the Kettleers. The pitch. In there for a called strike at the knees. Make the count 0-1. Plenty of time in between the delivery of the pitch and the call from Larry Rosenberg. 0-1 is the count. Righty to righty, here comes the pitch. That's in there for a strike at the knees as well to make the count 0-2. A bit of a quicker call there from Rosenberg as Losey was able to groove that one in. That's the sort of pitch that Losey likes to get in the head in the count with. If he has that fastball locating, he's a tough pitcher to beat. Coons setting up on the outside corner now as the 0-2 comes along, and it misses low. You can kind of sense that. I mean, from his very first start, Tony Losey, when he's ahead in the count 0-2, especially against a right-handed hitter, you can see the catcher, whether it's Coons or Gasper or Curry, just move over to the outer edge of the plate as he does here. 1-2 pitch, runner's going. The pitch is grounded left side softly down the third base line. Datris scoops it up and throws across to first base in time for out number 2. A nice play from Kyle Datris. We've seen him do that a few times this season where he's been able to have quick hands when he's charging a baseball in the infield grass and made the only play he could at first base. Vavra moves to second with 2 men out. And Chandler Avent will dig in now from the right side for Kettleers. We are scoreless here in the top of the second inning. There are 2 men out. Whitecaps and Kettleers, we thank you so much for joining us. This is one of the colder days we've had at Stony Brook Field all season. As Losey checks the runner at second a couple of times and deals. It's in there for a called strike on the inner edge. A nice frame from Coons to pull that one into the strike zone. In the eyes of Larry Rosenberg behind the dish. And the count is no balls and 1 strike. Runner on second base with 2 men out. Avent hitting .196 on the season, 3 home runs, 11 runs driven in. 0-1 pitch. In there for a strike again. Really in the same place, it looked like. Maybe not where Coons was setting up at first, but he was able to reach across and still get a frame on it. So again, ahead in the count, 0-2 is Tony Losey. We'll see where he goes here to try and put Chandler Avent away. 0-2 the count. Losey holds the set, and here comes the pitch. It's fouled away toward the right side. Was looking for that pitch on the outer edge there was Losey. Losey, as you've probably guessed by now, likes to throw a lot of fastballs, but does have a curveball that he can throw in. His coaches at Georgia, they say that he really pitches like a closer, both in terms of his mentality, but also the nuts and bolts of his arsenal. 0-2 is the count. Losey checks the runner a couple of times, a third time. Now makes eye contact with the runner, Vavra, and deals, and time is called before or as he was delivering the pitch. Second time today that we have seen Larry Rosenberg signal for time while Tony Losey has been in his throwing motion. 0-2 is the count still, as that pitch will not have counted. It was looked like a fastball on the inner edge. Waiting on an 0-2 pitch now from Losey. He checks the runner again. Here it comes. Misses down and away to make the count 1-2. And seeing Losey keep checking and checking and checking that runner at second base sure reminds us of what we saw, maybe it was, I guess it was 3 or 4 days ago now, when Brewster, before BP, got everybody together, and one of the key topics they were talking about in that meeting was keeping guys stranded at second for pitchers. One of the things they talked about was making eye contact. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, cut on and missed for strike 3. Tony Losey pulled the string on him there, and that gets his first strikeout of this ball game to retire beside him at top of the second. For Kettleers in the top of inning number 2. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left on. At the end of an inning and a half here in Brewster, we are scoreless. This is Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on Lower Cape TV Channel 99 and streaming live on YouTube. We welcome you back to Stony Brook Field. We're starting the bottom of inning number 2 here in Brewster, and we have yet to see our first run of the ball game. Carter Woodell and Morris Sheridan here with you. Thank you so much for joining us on Lower Cape TV. A big thanks to everybody behind the scenes who helps us get these beautiful live pictures up on your screen, or whatever screen it is, whether it's your TV or maybe your laptop or your phone on YouTube. We thank you so much for joining us here. We've seen a few hard-hit baseballs, but no runs so far. It's Infante, Coons, and Graffinino due up for the Brewster Whitecaps here in the bottom of the second against Austin Kitchen. And a lefty out of Coastal Carolina deals, and Infante fouls the first pitch off behind the plate to make the count 0-1 on the man from Vanderbilt. Infante so far this season is hitting .260 with a .333 on base percentage. He has 1 home run and 11 runs driven in. That homer for Infante came in that wild 8-8 tie against Hyannis back on Friday. One of 3 Whitecaps homers that day. 0-1 pitch misses low to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike. On Infante, who as is typical for him, keeps stepping out of the batter's box and taking a deep breath in between pitches. One of those guys who always lets the ball game come to him. 1-1 is the count. Kitchen is ready. Here comes the pitch. It misses low on a fastball to make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. I talked a little bit about Kitchen's arsenal on the top of the first. He says that he kind of models his game off of Drew Smiley, major leaguer. Just in that he doesn't have a ton of velocity, but he's able to locate, he's able to throw strikes, get ground balls. 2-1 pitch. Misses down and away, so the count is 3-1 now on Julian Infante. Gonna have to get that pitch just a little bit up above the knees if he's gonna want to get those ground balls. This is a team, the Whitecaps, that if you're looking at the season as a whole, has terrific plate discipline, though that strikeout to walk ratio has been dropping just a bit, nearly 3-1 in favor of the strikeouts during this 5-game winless streak. The 3-1 pitch is fouled away toward the right side, and the count is full. I think a piece of Infante's bat got knocked off, and he's going to, I think, ask for a fresh piece of lumber, just maybe a little splinter got taken off of that stick. And so at a big spot in this at-bat with the count 3-2, Infante will head over to the dugout and get a new piece of lumber. Katuitt, as I mentioned, coming into this ball game at 17-16-1. They are even in the loss column with Bourne for first place in the West. It really is crazy the way the West Division standings are shaking out right now. Bourne, Katuitt, Falmouth, and Wareham are all within a game of each other in the loss column in the top 4 slots right now. And you could argue Wareham, which has very good run differential, is probably the hottest team of the lot, and they're down in 4th place. So a really interesting last few days of the season in the West. 3-2 pitch is hit high in the air, foul ground right side. It will tail out of play, so we'll do it again with the count 3-2 on Julian Infante. I mentioned those strikeout and walk ratio numbers for Brewster during this winless streak. They've been outscored 33-21 in those 5 games. 4 losses and 1 draw. We are scoreless here, bottom of the second. Here comes the pitch to Infante, and it's hit on the ground right side slowly. Charging is Vavra. He fields it and throws across in time for the out. Nice play by the Katuitt second baseman. So Infante, after a bit of a battle, is retired, and there's 1 gone here in the top of inning number, or in the bottom of inning number 2, excuse me. And now it's Justin Coons' turn. The fellow from Gardner-Webb back in the lineup for the Whitecaps tonight. Coons has done a good job with kind of being part of the catcher carousel for Brewster. He, Mickey Gasper, and a little bit of Michael Curry have been splitting time at that position for the Whitecaps. And Coons has done a good job of just getting in his at-bats and staying focused. We saw a pinch hit homer for him earlier this year against Wareham. The pitch to the righty is fouled back to the screen to make the count 0-1. On the whole, Coons is hitting .244 this year, a .306 on-base percentage, has 3 home runs and 7 runs driven in. Does the backstop. A running bulldog of Gardner-Webb. 0-1 the count. Lefty versus righty here. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Just misses up on an off-speed offering there from Austin Kitchen. A bit unusual for a guy who likes to live down in the zone. 1-1 the count on Justin Coons. Of course, the strike zone for Coons a tad smaller than it might be for some of the other guys on this Whitecaps team. The 1-1 pitch is hit high in the air into left field. Kinnaman is moving to his left now, charging in a bit toward the foul line on the run. He dives, but he can't make the play, and it lands in foul territory. Kinnaman looked like he didn't quite get the best jump on that baseball. What's tailing in, maybe the wind a little bit, maybe pushed it toward foul ground. In any case, he had to lay out, but the baseball landed just out of his reach, so it's a very loud strike two, and Justin Coons will have to make his way back over to the plate. Another kind of stoppage in the middle of an at-bat for the hurler Austin Kitchen, as Gian Martellini, the catcher out of Boston College, will go and have a chat with him as Coons gets himself set up again in the batter's box. Remember, we saw that broken bat on a 3-2 pitch from Julian Infante that kind of stopped things for a little bit. And for a guy who is primarily a relief pitcher like Austin Kitchen, you would think he'd be somebody that likes to keep the situation moving. 1-2 is the count on Coons. Kitchen staring in now, gets the sign he likes. 1-2 pitch. Is it high in the air, tailing toward right center field. Moving to his left is the center fielder Genesee. He heads back, but it's over his head and will roll to the right center field wall. Coons is into second base with a standing double, and the Whitecaps have a runner in scoring position with one man out.
Well, we've seen a lot of hard-hit balls and fly balls out to right center today. Seems to be where the ball is headed for both teams, but especially Brewster, and both hits that we've seen today from Chandler Taylor and Michael Curry have been out that way, and then we just saw one from Justin Coons.
So with Coons' double, it's now up to the 8-hitter Graffinino and then the 9-hitter Malfetta to try and drive in what would be the first run of the ball game. We're scoreless here in the bottom of inning number 2. Here live from Brewster, Massachusetts at Stony Brook Field. It's Coons aboard second. Graffinino up, lefty to lefty. Here's the pitch. And it's in there for a strike. There is a bit of sinking action on that fastball from Austin Kitchen. Typical for a guy who is looking for ground balls. 0-1 is the count on Graffinino. Graffinino so far this year hitting .257, .306 OBP. 8 runs driven in, no homers yet for the man from Washington. 0-1 pitch. That one just misses. Looked like a cross-up there for Martellini behind the plate. Looked like he was looking for a breaking ball, and when it turned out to be a fastball that stayed up, he had to catch it up against his chest protector. A nice job to keep that under control. And so it's another conference on the mound between Martellini and his hurler Austin Kitchen. And he will head back with the count 1-1 strike on Graffinino. It's the second time that Brewster has been able to get a runner in scoring position. They had first and third and 2 men out in the first inning, but then a fly ball to right field from Kyle Datris ended that rally for Brewster. 1-1 the count now. And here comes the pitch to Graffinino. It's hit hard into center field. That one is going to get down for a base hit. Coons is rounding third. He's being waved home by Ryan Smythe. The throw comes in from Grayson Genesee in center, and it is offline. It's a high throw to the backstop, and the Whitecaps have their first run of the ball game. It's an RBI single from A.J. Graffinino, and it's 1-0 Brewster here at Stony Brook Field. Not the best throw there from Genesee out in center. It looked like it may have been a close play when when Ryan Smythe was waving in Justin Coons around third base, but the throw was too high, and Justin Coons comes in with Brewster's first run, and the Whitecaps take an early lead. That's RBI number 9 of the year for Graffinino. And now it's Malfetta's turn to try and keep this rally moving with the runner in scoring position, as Graffinino advanced to second base on the throw. Still just one man out here in this bottom of the second inning. 1-0 Whitecaps. Malfetta, a right-handed hitter out of Stanford. And here comes the pitch. It misses down and in. The ball gets away from Martellini, and moving over to third base on the play is Graffinino. We'll see how they score that one. That one had some late movement to it, but Martellini might think, for a guy who's a pretty good defensive catcher, that he was supposed to track that baseball down. In any case, Graffinino is now at third with one man out, and that is a very big, whether it's a wild pitch or a pass ball, it's a very big one, because now Malfetta's job is to just lift this one in the air and get to it. Now brings the infield in here with a runner on third base and one man out. So now a hard ground ball would probably make it 2-0 Whitecaps as well. 1-0 the count on Christian Malfetta. Here comes the pitch. It's looped foul right side, out of play. The count is 1-1. Malfetta this season is hitting .255, a .283 on base percentage. No home runs and 6 runs driven in for the Whitecap. Back at second base for Brewster today, and facing a 1-1 count. Kitchen holds the set. Now stares in. Here comes the pitch. It's fouled away behind the plate to make the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. They did rule that a pass ball that allowed Graffinino to move over to third base. So he is aboard third with 1 man out. No action yet in the Kettleers bullpen. As we mentioned, this is not really a typical starter on the mound in Austin Kitchen. Hasn't made a start all calendar year 2017. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's hit high in the air, left center field. That one is going to get down for a base hit. Cutting it off is the center fielder Genessa, but Graffinino will score from third easily. Christian Malfetta gets his 7th ribby of the season, and the Whitecaps double their lead. It's now 2-0 Brewster.
And it looks like it's going to be Hunter Bishop coming in to hit right now for Steele Walker. So this is exactly what we saw in Hyannis. Steele Walker got up once, and then he was out of the game. So you got to wonder if it's that same Achilles soreness bothering him once again. And Hunter Bishop now batting in the 1 spot for Brewster.
Well, Steele Walker is certainly not a guy to shy away from playing, not a guy who's immune to... Not a guy who's... He'll play through some pain if he needs to. He's never going to quit on his team. And we've seen that these past couple of games, as it is evident here. I mean, we'll see exactly... We'll see if maybe Aiden can get something for us on exactly what's happening with Walker, but you have to imagine that Achilles is still nagging him as they check Malfetta over at first base. Malfetta has yet to attempt to steal so far this year on the Cape. And now Hunter Bishop, who was out of a lineup and is a terrific defensive center fielder, will be slotted into the leadoff spot for Brewster. Holding the set now is Austin Kitchen. He'll check the runner at first base again. So far this year, for Hunter Bishop, he's hitting .200, a .326 on base percentage, no home runs, and 8 runs driven in. He has 31 strikeouts, which is the most on this Whitecaps team. We're in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Brewster is ahead now 2-0 on a couple of singles from Graffinino and Malfetta, who now stands on first base with 1 man out. And again, they will check the runner at first. So clearly, Austin Kitchen getting the directive to respect the man from Stanford aboard first base, with the lefty Hunter Bishop digging in. We'll see if he gets a pitch here. Holding the set now is Kitchen. Here comes the offering. Runner's going for second. The pitch is up high, but throw down to second base is not in time. He got under the tag, did Christian Malfetta, as he slid in head first into the second base bag. The throw was a bit high and to the right-hand side, looking at things from Gian Martellini, the catcher's perspective, and sliding in safely there was Christian Malfetta with his first stolen base of the Cape League season. And now again, the Whitecaps are in that situation that we've seen now 3 times in this ballgame. Runner on second base and 1 man out. Hunter Bishop is looking to keep the line moving here. The count 1-0 as that pitch again was up above the letters. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Sinker misses. Perhaps a bit low there to make the count 2 balls and no strikes. Brewster, I'm sure Jamie Shevchik and bench coach Tommy Weber would love to see just kind of putting the pieces together sort of rally for Brewster. 2-0 is the count. Here comes the pitch to Bishop. That 2 misses low to make the count 3-0. Just barely missing on those past couple of pitches there was Austin Kitchen. Not getting the low strike from Larry Rosenberg. And we'll see what Bishop has here. You'd think that he would be given the take sign here with the count 3-0. Here comes the pitch. And it's in there for a called strike. Did look like Hunter Bishop was taking all the way there. Well, it's hard to tell with a guy like Bishop. He has so much movement in his stance and in his swing. Lots of little kinks for the tall, lanky guy out of Arizona State. He's always got some sort of movement when he's waiting on a pitch. 3-1 is the count. Here comes the pitch. It's hit hard on the ground, slowly to shortstop. Running in to scoop it as a shortstop. Avon, he throws across the first base in time for the out. A nice scoop at first base by Toglia to pick that one up off the dirt. That's the second out. It moves Malfetta over to third base with 2 men out, and now it's Chandler Taylor's turn. That one just got caught up in the infield grass there. As I mentioned, we've had about a day and a half of rain here in Brewster, and there isn't an infield tarp to speak of, so the infield grass is probably a little bit more sodden than it typically would be, as well as the dirt. Taylor, the lefty hitter, up against the lefty Austin Kitchen. Runner at third base and 2 men out. Here comes the pitch. It misses down and away on a first pitch breaking ball. The Whitecaps are ahead 2-0 here in the bottom of this second inning. Singles from Coons and Graffinino and Malfetta got them in. Coons and Graffinino scored the runs for the Whitecaps, and Chandler Taylor's going to ask for some time. With the count still 1 ball and no strikes, Taylor, his first time up, had a hard-hit single to center field, but then was left stranded aboard third base in that first inning for Brewster. Here comes the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Looked like that was that sinker that Chandler Taylor missed. Might have just gotten a piece of it before it got into the glove of Gian Martellini behind the dish. In any case, the count is even 1 ball and 1 strike on the man from Alabama. Kitchen holds the set. And here comes the 1-1 offering. Misses down and away. Nice block there from Martellini. The catcher out of BC. Tell you what, these maroon and gold colors for Katuitt means that his chest protector looks very similar to the one that he had at BC. It's pretty much the same color scheme, especially here on the road, where Katuitt's wearing their maroon tops. 2-1 is the count. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss on a fastball up to make the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's not typical of Austin Kitchen to try and run a fastball up, but that is something that Chandler Taylor and a couple of other Whitecaps hitters, Mickey Gasper, has struggled with that a little bit as well this year. The high fastball brings the count to 2-2 with 2 men out. It's a 2-0 game in the bottom of the second, with the 2-hitter at the plate for Brewster. Here comes the 2-2 offering. In there called, strike 3 at the knees, and Chandler Taylor is down on strikes. That retires the side here in the bottom of the second inning. Taylor didn't like the call, but there's nothing he can do, as that is the first strikeout of the game for Austin Kitchen. For the Whitecaps in the bottom of the second, they get 2 runs on 3 hits. They leave 1 runner on base, no errors in the frame. At the end of 2 innings of play, it's 2-0 Brewster. This is Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on Lower Cape TV, Channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. Back here at Stony Brook Field, the Whitecaps have an early lead. It's 2-0 as we start the third, and Zach Cohn hits the first pitch from Tony Losi and loops it foul down the right field line. Just a couple of feet foul. Did that baseball land off the bat of the man from Duke University, and the count is no balls and 1 strike on Zach Cohn. The Whitecaps getting a couple of RBI singles in the bottom of the second inning to get their 2-0 advantage. Here comes the 0-1. A slow breaking ball. It's in there for a strike. A big looping action there from Tony Losi. The count is 0-2. Losi's definitely a fastball first pitcher, but when he breaks out that curveball, it really can fool folks. Here comes the 0-2 offering. Pitch is just a bit low. That was right where Justin Coons had the target set up. Tell you what, that's a kind of a test book at bat for Tony Losi if he wants to get a strikeout. Start him off with the fastball, then freeze him with the breaking ball and try to get that fastball on the outer edge. Here comes the 1-2. It's fouled back to the screen. That one got out over the middle of the plate, maybe even in on the hands to Zach Cohn, despite the fact that Coons was setting up outside, and he fouled it straight back to the fencing to make the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Losi staring in. Shakes off one sign from Coons, now gets the one he likes. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball hit on the ground to shortstop. Graffinino scoops it up and throws across quickly to first base, and it's in time for out number 1 of the third inning. Another showcasing of quick hands there from Graffinino. Zach Cohn has some speed, and he picked it right up off the dirt. got him to first base with plenty of time to spare, and that means it's time for the 9-hitter to come up for Kituitt. Gian Martellini, catcher out of Boston College. Martellini hitting from the right side against Tony Losi. Martellini's this season hitting .224 with a .303 on base percentage, 2 home runs and 12 runs driven in. Here comes the first pitch to him. It's in there for a strike. On the inner half was that fastball there from Tony Losi. Makes the count 0-1. And here comes the 0-1 pitch as the sun begins to come out here. The pitch misses outside. Make the count 1-1. Losi really is pretty different than a lot of the other players that are left on this Whitecaps pitching staff. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It misses inside. Brewster, of course, has been hit with a lot of different losses at their pitching staff. They just lost Davis Daniel yesterday and have lost a big total of arms these past few days to 2-1 pitch is swung on and missed to make the count 2-2. Lost those arms to a bunch of different reasons, innings limits like with Robert Broom and J.R. McDermott, or pitchers shutting themselves down like Connor Higgins, or an injury. Davis Daniel was dealing with an arm problem. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. It's hit high in the air into shallow center field, right center field. Now tailing over toward the right fielder Chandler Taylor, and he makes the catch. For out number 2, that one had some hook to it, but Taylor got underneath it, and that is out number 2 at the top of the 3rd inning. And to finish the thought, Losi really is one of the few guys of what's left that relies on stuff. A lot of the other folks that we might see in this ball game, like Will Tribuker and Paulie Milto, Jonathan Seaver, they're trying to fill up his zone by trying to throw strikes, a lot like what Austin Kitchen, the starter today for Kituitt, is doing. But Losi, he relies on the stuff on that fastball and that curveball. The first pitch is outside to Griffin Conine, who's back up again for the Kettleers, getting him a leadoff spot. The right fielder today. He singled his first time up and then was doubled off. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It skips low in the dirt to make the count 2 balls and no strikes on the lefty hitter. It's 2-0. Brewster is on top. We're in the top of inning number 3. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Just misses outside to make the count 3 balls and no strikes. Losi kind of flashing a smile on the mound. Larry Rosenberg definitely looking like a hitter's ump. But if he's consistent, then it's the player's job to adjust. Here comes a 3-0 pitch. That's in there for a called strike. Right at the knees there, just groove that one in to make the count 3-1. And Losi's working quickly here. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. It misses. It was swing and a miss. The one that just tailed toward the outer edge and just kind of waved at it late did Griffin Conine, so the count is now full. 3 balls and 2 strikes, and Conine's going to call for time. I think this is a good decision here. Got fooled by that pitch. Losi working ever quickly. Now he digs back in. Waiting on a 3-2 pitch. Here it comes. Fouled right back to the screen. That went in at 93. And so we'll do things again. 3-2 is the count on Griffin Conine. Conine originally from Florida and then went to Duke University. He was a 31st round draft choice by the Marlins, as Tony Losi is now having a chat with the home plate ump Larry Rosenberg. Wonder what they're talking about. I don't know if it's dinner plans, but it seems to be nice and lighthearted as both of them have a smile on their face. Maybe Losi's saying, hey, listen, I would have loved to have had that strike 3 call a couple of pitches ago. But in any case, Tony Losi, like his Georgia teammate and Whitecap teammate Michael Curry, never wanted to take himself too seriously on the mound. 3-2 pitch misses outside on a breaking ball. Losi frustrated there. That one looked like it just slipped out of his hand just a little bit, left that one up and away. So after a lengthy at-bat, Griffin Conine draws a walk, the first one surrendered by Losi in this ballgame. And now it's Grayson Genesis' turn. The Whitecaps are ahead 2-0 here in the top of inning number 3. Tony Losi trying to finish things off. So far, his stuff has looked pretty good. The fastball's had good velocity to it. The pitch to Genesis misses down and in. The count is 1 ball and no strikes. To the lefty hitter. Genesis, first time up, grounded into a 4-6-3 double play in the top of the first inning. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It's in there for a called strike. Nicely done to paint the outside corner there from Tony Losi. It appears that he's going to have to earn that today with Larry Rosenberg behind the plate. 1-1 is the count. And time is called again as Tony Losi starts his pitching motion. There's a groan from the crowd. That's the third time in this ballgame. We're only in the top of the third inning that a Cotuit player has asked for time, and Larry Rosenberg has granted it while Tony Losi was in his pitching motion. Very unusual to see this in such rapid succession, but in any case, the pitch doesn't count, and it's 1-1. Here comes the offering. It skips him a dirt in front of Coons. He whips the mask off, but no advance. 2-1 now the count on Grayson Genesta. Genesta, one of those guys who has moved over to a position. He's listed as an infielder on this roster, but he played outfield at Wichita State. That's where he is today. 2-1 pitch is grounded softly foul right side. Infante fielded that even with the first base bag, maybe just a couple of steps in foul ground. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count on Grayson Genesta as Tony Losi is once again trying to work his way out of this inning. Got into a lengthy battle with Griffin Conine a hitter ago, wound up surrendering the walk. He shakes off a couple of signs from Coons, and now Coons will call for time and reset everything, run through the signs again. Now Losi nods. Here comes the 2-2 pitch from Tony Losi. He misses low to run the count full. So that means Griffin Conine will be running now from first base with the count full and 2 men out. We're in the top of the third inning. The score is Brewster 2 and Cotuit 0 here at Stony Brook Field in Brewster. Losi now holds the set. 3-2 pitch on the way. Grounded softly to the left side. Fielded over there by Kyle Datras. He throws across the diamond, and the throw is in time. A nice pick from Julian Infante to retire the side in the top of the third inning. Datras needed that throw. Genesta with plenty of speed, and Infante making one of those plays. It seems like every day he has a nice little play at first base to help Brewster getting out. That's the final out of the top of the third. No runs and no hits for Cotuit. They do leave 1 runner on in the frame at the end of 2.5 innings of play. Brewster still leads 2-0. This is Brewster Whitecaps baseball on Lower Cape TV channel 99 and streaming live on YouTube. We welcome you back to Stony Brook Field in Brewster. Carter Woodhill and Morris Sheridan here with you. We're starting the bottom of the third inning now between the Whitecaps and the Kettleers, and looks like the sun has come out for just a brief moment. Very partly cloudy skies, a lot of cumulus activity above our heads, and it's been kind of in and out in terms of sunshine. Austin Kitchen is back on the mound. He'll face Marty Costas here in the bottom of the third inning, and the pitch is fouled back behind the plate. It's Costas, Curry, and Datras. The 3 due up for Brewster. With the count 0-1, Brewster got both of their runs in the bottom of the second inning. On a couple of RBI singles, they lead 2-0. Here in the bottom of inning number 3. Here comes the 0-1 pitch to Costas. It misses outside on a fastball from Kitchen to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Again, no Mickey Gasper in the lineup for Brewster today. No Nick Dunn either. Bit of a different look from Jamie Shevchik, and he's front-loading these power bats, Taylor, Costas, and Curry in the 3-4 on the 2, 3, and 4 spots for Brewster. And apparently he was just thinking, when Morris Sheridan talked to him about the possibility of this game maybe not going the full 9, given the cloudy weather and the lack of lights here at Stony Brook Field. Sunset's getting earlier and earlier as the days go by. Here comes the 1-1. That misses. Makes the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Maybe just a bit up and in there to make the count 2-1 on Marty Costas, who flew out to center field his first time up. Gave it a nice ride, but it was tracked down by the center fielder, Genesta. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. That misses up and away to make the count 3 balls and 1 strike now on Marty. Austin Kitchen so far has looked pretty composed on the mound for the Kettleers. Came into this game with a 4.35 ERA, but as we mentioned, there were a couple of bad outings that inflated that a little bit. 3-1 pitch is fouled back to the screen. Makes the count 3-2. And certainly Austin Kitchen knows how to get big outs in big situations. He was the closer for the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers when they won it all back at the 2016 College World Series. And he now faces a 3-2 count on Costas. Here it comes. It's hit high in the air toward right side. It's going to tail foul and out of play. So we'll do it again. Costas so far this year, when he came into Whitecaps camp, as we see on Lower Cape TV with a fan with a prize souvenir there on the right side. Always great to see that at the ballpark here. But Costas, as I was saying, has drawn his fair share of walks for Brewster as well. Here comes a 3-2 pitch. It misses down and in. So Costas, as I was saying, draws a walk. And a leadoff runner is on for the Whitecaps. First time they've managed to do that in this ball game today on Marty Costas' 14th walk of the season.
And Brewster's known for walking a lot. That's something they've done so much this season, but in the last 2 games against Hyannis, they've only walked 4 times. So should be interesting to see what they can do today, but a good sign with Marty Costas getting on someone that tends to walk a lot, as you mentioned.
And one of those walks, remember, more was intentional to Mickey Gasper. So you're absolutely right that has been something that has kind of fallen out from the Whitecaps' arsenal as they check Marty Costas over at first base and he dives back. Tell you what, that's something Whitecaps fans are used to seeing. Marty Costas dive back at first. He always takes a pretty aggressive lead out there, but has been able to get back, and they will check on him again. He dives back again. That was very close, but he's safe. Nicely placed throw there from Austin Kitchen, but Toglia, the first baseman, couldn't quite get the tag down in time. And Michael Curry, digging into the batter's box from the right side, is still waiting for his first pitch. The Whitecaps lead 2-0 in the bottom of the third. Nobody out with the runner on first base. And runner goes, and they got him picked off. They throw to first base, now down to the shortstop, and he will tag him out. Marty Costas didn't like that call. He thought he got his hand in before the tag, but Avant did apply it, and Costas will continue barking just a little bit at the umpire. That's Mark Delaney who's out there that he is taking exception to that call with. But Marty Costas is caught stealing for the first time all year, sliding into second, and that's out number 1 of the bottom of the third. Costas now 4 out of 5. Trying to steal bases. Very close play that. Here comes the pitch to the righty, Michael Curry, and it misses up and away to start his at-bat off. 1-0 the count. Curry dug in thinking he was going to have a runner at first base, but by the time he actually got a pitch, that runner was gone. 1-0 the count. Here comes the offering. It's fouled back behind the plate. 1-1 now the count on the Georgia Bulldog. Curry singled his first time up. Was lifted right there at first base after a little mini rally for the Whitecaps was snuffed out in the first inning. Kitchen is ready. Here comes the pitch. It's a high chopper through the middle. Moving to his right is the second baseman, Vavra. He fields and throws across the first base in time. A nice play by Terran Vavra over there, moving to his right, almost even with the second base bag when he made that throw to retire Michael Curry. So that's the second out of the bottom of the third inning. And now Kyle Datris will dig back in for Brewster. Datris started off his first game since returning from his sister's wedding with a fly ball to right field that stranded a couple of runners in the bottom of inning number 1. Datris, the UNC Tar Heel. It's 2-0. Brewster is on top. We're in the bottom of the third here at Stony Brook Field. The pitch to the right-hander is it high in the air toward the right field line. It's going to be foul. That one had some distance to it, maybe not home run distance, but certainly maybe about 310 feet on that one from Kyle Datris, but it did just tail foul down the line, wound up knocking into that gray warning track out there. So allowed strike 1, 0-1 is the count on Datris. Wind is blowing in from center field and maybe a bit left to right as well. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. It misses outside. That's very unusual given what we've had. I mean, we're here sitting in the press box where we are seated right behind home plate. We've got the building all around us, and we haven't felt really any wind this year, but now it's coming in toward us. Usually, if there's been wind at Stony Brook Field, it's blowing out towards center. The 1-1 pitch is hit high in the air to right field. Moving back is the right fielder, Conine. He's still heading back over toward the warning track, but he makes the catch to retire the side. Conine had to deal with some sun out there as the sun is back out, and right field is the sun field here in Brewster, but he did an admirable job to track down the baseball, and that finishes things in the bottom of the third. So Brewster puts the minimum 3 up to the plate. No runs, no hits, and thanks to that caught stealing, there's nobody left on either. At the end of 3 full innings of play, Brewster leads 2-0. This is Whitecaps Baseball on Lower KTV, Channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube.
Welcome back, and as we mentioned, Steele Walker is going to be out of this game
for the second consecutive game was pulled and replaced by Hunter Bishop after his first at-bat, and according to Coach Jamie Shevchik, it's with the exact same injury. Shev just seems to say that he's re-aggravated that Achilles injury that bothered him the other night in Hyannis. They still don't view it as a long-term issue. Coach Tommy Weber said at this point in the season, we're more focused on having him for the last couple games and then into the playoffs. So at this point, why push it? So Steele Walker, yes, he's out with the Achilles injury, but not something that seems to be a long-term issue for this team. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Aiden, as Mike Toglia is up to bat for the Kettleers. First pitch in for a called strike from Tony Losi. Moves the count to 0-1 on Toglia. The 0-1. This one gets behind Justin Coons into the backstop. That one moves the count to 1-1. Toglia in his first at-bat had a fly ball out to Steele Walker in center. Now it's Hunter Bishop covering center field for the Whitecaps. Here comes a 1-1. This one misses below the knees. Counts now 2-1 on the number 3 hitter for the Kettleers. Katua just trying to muster up some offense. Haven't been able to do so as the next pitch from Losi again below the knees. Counts 3-1 on Toglia. As I mentioned, Katua down 2-0 on Brewster here in the top of the 4th inning. Losi nodding his head at Justin Coons. Here comes a 3-1. This one misses on the outside corner, and that's going to be a leadoff walk to Mike Toglia to start out this inning for the Katua Kettleers. As Taryn Vavra digs in for Katuitt again. Runner now on first and just trying to get on the board as the tying run is Vavra, the second baseman today. And he does have a hit to his name in the second inning the last time he was up to bat. First pitch from Losi finds the inside corner for strike 1. The walk to Toglia, that was the second walk of the day for Tony Losi. Also walked Griffin Conine in the 3rd inning. Here comes the 0-1. Runner moving to second. Coons with the throw, and he will get the runner out. So that will be the first out of this top of the 4th inning. We just saw Marty Costas try to steal second and get caught, and then Brewster responds by getting Mike Toglia out with a nice throw from Justin Coons over to second.
Yeah, eye for an eye right there. Mora, 2 terrific throws to get those runners, and a nice job from Coons to nab him there. And I'm sure Jamie Shevchik is happy that home plate umpire Larry Rosenberg did register that swing from the runner. We've seen a similar play that wind up with Shevchik's ejection here at Stony Brook Field a few days ago.
Counts now 0-2. Here comes it 0-2, a swing and a miss. Gets the second baseman out for the Kettleers, so now there is 2 outs in this top of the 4th inning.
And that's the kind of thing that Justin Coons can bring into the game. You know, we were talking a lot in this booth the last time we were here at Stony Brook Field about stuff that doesn't show up in the box score. That caught stealing's going to show up. But Tony Losi was able to come in. Now he gets that strikeout. And, you know, he's pitching out of the windup for that fastball that he can just run up there on Terran Vavra. And now he's got 2 outs and nobody on.
First pitch, a swing and a miss from Brett Kinnaman. Tony Losi going ahead in the count 0-1. We've seen catchers for this Whitecaps team struggle to throw people out on the base paths. That's a conversation that Coach Tommy Weber and Jamie Shevchik have had with them multiple times. Here comes the 0-1. This one fouled behind into the backstop, moves the count to 0-2. Even Tony Losi, the pitcher on the mound today, was talking to me when he was on air, saying Mickey Gasper and Justin Coons work on that a lot, and clearly paying off there for Justin Coons. But there's now 2 outs and nobody on as time is called by Rosenberg behind the plate. Kinnaman now ready. Here comes the 0-2. This one fouled into the netting behind him and stays alive with the count still 0-2. Tony Losi, he does move quickly. We've seen a lot of close calls. 3 pitches that he's thrown haven't counted as the batters are calling time. Here comes the 0-2. This one misses way outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Kinnaman. In the second inning, in his lone at-bat, he hit one to center field, a fly ball. Here comes the 1-2. And that one swung on and missed, but pops out of the glove of Justin Coons. He'll make the throw to first and complete the strikeout. And Tony Losi has 2 strikeouts in a row to end this top of the 4th inning. No run score for the Cotuit Kettleers. The score is still Brewster 2, Cotuit nothing. Stick with us. You're watching Brewster Whitecaps baseball on Lower Cape TV, channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube.
Do you know what that sound is? That's your new digital marketing department. And that'll be your new web designer. And that's Haibu, where these experts are joined by many more, from web designers to search marketing specialists who work hard to get your business noticed online and on mobile. Best of all, Haibu can do it all for you, or give you the tools to do it yourself. To find out more, go to haibu.com. That's HIBU.com, or call 855-464-HIBU. Oh, that'll be your next new customer. Haibu, made for business.
Infante, Coons, and Graffinino all due up for the Brewster Whitecaps, and they'll face Austin Kitchen. He's still on the mound for Cotuit. As we were talking to the broadcasters for the Kettleers before the game, they didn't think he was going to go into the 4th inning, but we're in the bottom of the 4th, and it's still Austin Kitchen on the mound. So Mike Roberts clearly trusting Kitchen to just keep going in this one, as we were told he's kind of a filler-in starting role. It's kind of that time of year where every team is losing guys in their starting rotation. As a first pitch to Julian Infante misses below the knees for ball 1. Kitchen staring in. Here comes the 1-0. A swing and a miss from Julian Infante moves the count to 1-1. Infante, in his lone at-bat, grounded out to second in a 4-3.
There is a righty that's getting loose, not throwing yet for Kettleers, or a lefty, I think. We can't tell who it is because he's wearing a pullover, so no number there.
Here comes the 1-1. This one fouled on the third base line, straight to the dugout for the Brewster Whitecaps. Counts now 1-2 on Infante. As I was mentioning, Kettleers, no stranger to the problems of the Cape League. There's inning limits, there's guys that get hurt, people going home, so they lost some guys in their starting rotation, lost some guys in the bullpen, and they're just trying to fill in with this start from Kitchen, according to their broadcasters. Here comes the 1-2. This one misses down low, counts now 2-2 on Julian Infante. The Whitecaps lead the Kettleers 2-0. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning. Nobody on and no outs as Infante's the first batter. Kitchen nods at the call-in. Here comes the throw-in. He will get Julian Infante to wave at a pitch. And that will be the second strikeout of the day for Kitchen.
Nicely done with the breaking ball there from Austin Kitchen to fool Julian Infante. Not a guy who is easily fooled in that situation, but he has really done well on the mound so far. I think this is a big clutch performance. I know he's given up a pair of runs, and he's behind right now or he'd be saddled with the loss, but he's done a terrific job. He's done everything that Mike Roberts, I think, could have asked him in this performance so far.
Justin Coons now up to bat. First pitch to Coons is high for ball one. Justin Coons was in the same position with one out when he got his first at-bat in the second inning, ended up doubling with as he swings and misses at the next pitch, moves the count to 1-1. Had a hard hit ball to right center. Really got this offense going for Brewster as the bottom of the order came alive. Scored the 2 runs in that second inning to put Brewster up. Here comes the 1-1. A swing and a miss again from Justin Coons. That one on the outside corner. Coons chasing a little bit for that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes to today's catcher for the Whitecaps. We saw him with a nice play on defense, threw out a runner moving to second. Here comes the 1-2. A swing and a miss, and that's back-to-back strikeouts for Kitchen. He gets Infante and Coons to swing and miss.
Yeah, Kitchen is cooking right now. A terrific performance with these back-to-back strikeouts. Looked pretty similar, didn't they? More maybe the one to Infante was more down toward the dirt. Both kind of tailing away. Doing a good job of not just relying on the fastball and stuff. I know we've talked about how he's kind of more of a ground ball guy, but looking like he has strikeout stuff with those last couple of hitters.
And here comes A.J. Graffinino with 2 outs and nobody on. Here comes the first one, and a swing and a miss from A.J. Graffinino, moves the count to 0-1. Interestingly enough, we were saying that Kitchen was a guy that kind of shoots for the ground out. He has 3 ground outs today, has forced 3 from the Whitecaps, as this next pitch is a called strike, moves the count to 0-2, and he also has 3 strikeouts, so equal amount, and as you're saying, he's really cooking as of late. Back-to-back strikeouts has put A.J. Graffinino in the position he's in now with nobody on. Here comes the next pitch. That one just misses on the outside corner for the first ball of this at-bat to A.J. Graffinino. Counts now 1-2, takes a couple practice swings, and now enters the batter's box again. The 1-2 on its way. That one fouled softly on the third base line, right to Smythe, the third base coach for Brewster. A.J. Graffinino staying alive in this one. 1 ball, 2 strikes to the shortstop for the Whitecaps. He had a RBI single that brought home Justin Coons and got the scoring started for Brewster. Here comes the 1-2. That one squirts out as they'll have to complete the strikeout with a throw to first, and they will, so that's 3 strikeouts in this inning. Austin Kitchen strikes out the side, and no runs come through on no hits and nobody left on. The score is still Brewster 2, Kettleers nothing after 4 innings of play. Stick with us. You're watching Brewster Whitecaps baseball on Lower Cape TV, channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. Welcome back, and we'll send it down to the sidelines to our sideline reporter for the day, Catherine Huntley. Take it away, Catherine.
Sides of the field. We have a bunch of players' parents that are here. We'd like to thank you for letting us share your sons with you.
Hi, I'm Catherine Huntley from Lower Cape TV. And you know, it's no secret that Major League Scouts flock to the Cape Cod Baseball League. For every game, you see them with their clipboards, radar guns, and stopwatches. Well, how do players play in front of men and women that they know are going to be determining their whole future? Well, we talked to bench coach Tommy Weber, who said that the answer is they breed an atmosphere of good team play, because good team play breeds great individual ones. And with the record that the Whitecaps and the Cape Cod Baseball League have in sending players to the major leagues, well, it's clear a lot of these guys have a bright future ahead of them. Reporting live from Stony.
Thanks so much, Catherine, as Luke Alexander hits the first pitch he sees to Chandler Taylor out in right field. Taylor able to make the grab, and Brewster quickly gets one out in this top of the 5th inning. That one a hard hit one. You could hear it come off the bat of Alexander, but Chandler Taylor able to get under it as the shortstop, Chandler Oven, a teammate of Chandler Taylor, digs in. Plays at Alabama. Here comes the first pitch. This one down in the dirt. Moves the count to 1-0. Avant will foul the next one on the third base line towards the bullpen for the Brewster Whitecaps. Count's now 1-1. Tony Losey still on the mound for Brewster. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Here comes the next pitch. This one finds the strike zone, moves the count to 1-2. Brewster leads 2-0 over Kettleers. We're in the top of the 5th inning as Avent hits it over to AJ Graffinino, makes the throw over to Infante, and that will complete out number 2. A 6-3 play there. And there's 2 outs here in the top of the 5th.
Well, that's the second baseball that we've seen AJ Graffinino field in this ball game, and it was 2 great plays, I think, there. I'm sure Kyle Jatris would have liked to have grabbed that one. It was right there in the shortstop hole. But Graffinino knew he could make the play. He backhanded it and threw across his body for the out.
So with 2 outs, Zach Cohn, the designated hitter, up to bat as he'll foul this next one hard on the first base line. That will tail foul. Tony Losey again trying to move quickly. He's all set there on the mound. Counts 0-1 on Cohn. The 0-1. That one drops in for a strike. Count now 0-2 on Zach Cohn. Cohn out of Fort Lauderdale. Teammates with Griffin Conine in high school at Pine Crest. Then they decided to go to Duke together. Here comes the 0-2. That one misses on the inside. Counts now 2-2. And then, of course, Cone and Conine are teammates here with the Kettleers, so they just can't get enough of each other. Here comes the 1-2. A swing and a miss, and Tony Losey got him. And a quick top of the 5th inning for Brewster. 1-2-3. Tony Losey faces the minimum. No hits, no runs, and nobody left on. The score is still Brewster 2, Kettleers nothing. You're watching Brewster Whitecaps baseball on Lower Cape TV, channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. come back. 9, 1, and 2. All due up for the Brewster Whitecaps is going to be Molfetta, Bishop, and Taylor. As Molfetta taking some practice swings for the Whitecaps, and Austin Kitchen still on the mound, top of the 5th. Not really what we expected, but he's been pitching pretty well, and clearly Roberts trusts him out there, as we do see Jace Vincena warming up in the bullpen for the Kettleers, but for now it's Kitchen's game, and Molfetta digs in for the Whitecaps. It's the bottom of the 5th inning, and Brewster leads 2-0 over Katuitt. Brewster trying to get their first win against the Kettleers. As the first pitch to Molfetta, he'll hit right to the second baseman. That's fielded over, and that will be a quick out for the Brewster Whitecaps to start out this bottom of the 5th. As Hunter Bishop now enters for the Whitecaps. As we mentioned, Hunter Bishop didn't think he was playing in this game, but as happened the other day against Hyannis, quickly had to move, and now he's in center field, and now he's batting in the leadoff spot too as he takes the first pitch, shows bunt, and then realizes that one's below the knees, and counts now 1-0 on Hunter Bishop. Bishop in his first at-bat in the 2nd inning, grounded out to 3rd. Kitchen staring in. Here comes the 1-0. Shows bunt again, does Bishop, and that one is a strike as Bishop wasn't able to pull back in time. Counts now 1-1. Hunter Bishop is batting an even 200 on the Cape this year. Struggled a little bit early as the 1-1 drops below the knees. Counts now 2-1. Bishop, one of the younger ones on the team. The only one younger than him is Tony Losi, who's on the mound today. He'll turn 19 in just 4 days as Bishop hits this ball right to the second baseman again. Vavra fields it over to Toglia, and that is 2 up, 2 down for Kitchen here in the bottom of the 5th.
Boy, it really seems like this game has kind of settled in here. We saw those 2 singles from Brewster in the 2nd inning, and since then we haven't seen any team either threat any knocks on the door. It's good news if you want to see 9 innings. The game's been moving pretty quickly.
So after back-to-back 4-3 groundouts, it's going to be Chandler Taylor up to bat with 2 outs and nobody on for the Whitecaps. First pitch to Taylor misses outside. Counts now 1-0 on the lefty. Taylor out in right field today. Singled in his first at-bat in the 1st inning. In the 2nd inning, struck out looking. Here comes the 1-0. This one again misses, or finds a strike zone on the outside corner. Little bit of a late call there from Rosenberg, but the count's now 1-1. Here's the pitch, the 1-1. This one fouled on the first base line, right to Will Delgado, the first base coach, who moves out of the way for the Brewster Whitecaps. Counts now 1-2 on Chandler Taylor. Taylor was left on 3rd in the 1st inning. One of 2 base runners left on for the Brewster Whitecaps in that inning. Since then, as Chandler Taylor takes the next one below the knees, counts now 2-2. Kitchen nods and gets ready for the 2-2. This one just outside on the corner there, runs the count full. For the first time this inning, Chandler Taylor kind of works a full count, making Kitchen work for this out. Here comes the payoff pitch. This one below the knees, and Chandler Taylor will be the first base runner of this bottom of the 5th inning for the Brewster Whitecaps. Gets on a walk, and now it's Marty Costas up to bat. Costas himself got on a walk in the 3rd inning the last time he came up. Costas digging in with now a runner on first, but there is 2 outs for the Brewster Whitecaps. Here comes the first pitch. That one's dropped in for a strike. Counts now 0-1 on Costas. Looked back at Rosenberg, not sure if he liked that call. Marty Costas, we saw him get thrown out in a little run down between first and second as Kitchen was the one that threw it, and here goes Chandler Taylor on the run to second. He slides in, but the throw from Martellini is not in time. Chandler Taylor beats out a pretty nice throw from Martellini, just didn't have quite enough speed there. And Chandler Taylor able to move into second and puts a runner in scoring position now for Marty Costas, who has 18 RBIs on the season this year.
That was a good throw. For a minute, I thought that Chandler Taylor was going to be hung out to dry just like Marty Costas was, but a nice job to get in there ahead of the tag as Chandler Taylor says hi to his Alabama teammate Chandler Avent at second base there.
Martellini and Kitchen just having a little meeting at the mound as the second baseman Vavra also joined them. But now everyone retreats back to their positions, and the count's now 0-2 on Marty Costas, but there is a runner on second for Brewster. Chandler Taylor with a significant lead. There goes the 0-2. Breaking ball that misses below the knees. Counts now 1-2 on Marty Costas. In his first at-bat, he had a hard hit that just was able to be grabbed by Conine over in right field. As I mentioned, he walked in the third inning. Here comes the 1-2. This one fouled into the netting behind him. Marty Costas staying alive. Counts now 1-2. Austin Kitchen has now thrown 83 pitches in this game. Remember, this is his first start ever in the Cape League. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Marty Costas. Brewster leads Cotuit 2-0 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here comes the 1-2. Marty Costas again fouls this one. Chops behind him. Stays alive and will do it again. Counts still 1-2. Chandler Taylor at second, anxiously awaiting. Trying to come home as Brewster trying to make this lead a bigger one with a runner in scoring position, but there is 2 outs. The 1-2. Costas, a hard line drive that again, Conine able to grab, get under, and that will do it. Chandler Taylor's left at second. Brewster does not get a hit in this inning. Nobody comes home, and the score is still Brewster 2, Cotuit nothing. After 5 innings of play, stick with us. You're watching Brewster Whitecaps baseball on Lower Cape TV, channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends, staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgent-care. Well, welcome back to Stony Brook Field. It's the top of the 6th inning, and we're still locked with Brewster. We're locked in the same score that we've seen since the 2nd inning. Brewster up 2-0 on Cotuit as Tony Losi still on the mound for the Whitecaps. He's been working quickly as of late. He'll face the number 9 hitter for the Kettleers, Gian Martellini. As Martellini hits the first one to Kyle Dautris over at third. Dautris with the throw over to Infante in time. And that will be a quick first out yet again for the Brewster Whitecaps. Tony Losi had a very quick 5th inning. 3 up, 3 down, and seemed like everything was on the first or second pitch. Was able to get guys out. Here comes the first pitch. That one is below the knees. Counts now 1-0. On the leadoff hitter, Griffin Conine. Conine hits one high into left center. Hunter Bishop moving to his left, able to make the grab. And that's a quick 2 outs for Tony Losi and the Brewster Whitecaps.
Yeah, quick is right, Maura. I know that Jamie Shevchik stacked this lineup full of power hitters at the top of the lineup because he was worried that we might not play a full game tonight. Well, there's still a lot of baseball left in this game, but so far we are definitely on pace to get this ball game in with the full 9.
Losi with the first pitch on the outside corner finds the strike zone. Counts now 0-1 on Grayson Janista. As Janista fouls one on the third base line up into the trees. Counts now 0-2. Tony Losi quickly getting ahead in the count. He ended both the fourth and the fifth inning with a strikeout. Here comes 0-2. A swing and a miss, and that will do it for this top of the sixth inning. Tony Losi working very quickly in the Brewster Whitecaps. Maintain this 2-0 lead after 5.5 innings of play. Stick with us. You're watching Brewster Whitecaps baseball on Lower Cape TV, Channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. Curry, Datris, and Infante all set to bat for the Brewster Whitecaps, and they'll have to face a new pitcher. It's going to be Jace Vancina coming in the game for the Cotuit Kettleers as he's taking some practice pitches for Cotuit. He replaces Austin Kitchen, who had a pretty decent first outing, only allowed 2 runs to the Whitecaps and 5 hits.
Yeah, the full line on Kitchen today. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, as you said, 2 runs. Both of those runs were earned runs surrendered by Austin Kitchen. He walked 2 and struck out 4, which is pretty impressive considering he's more of a ground ball type of guy.
Curry, the DH today, enters the batter's box for Brewster as Rosenberg, the home plate ump, wipes off home plate. Curry taking some practice swings. Number 11 for Brewster had a single in the first inning, and in the third, in his last at-bat against Kitchen, had a 4-3 ground out, as he'll take the first pitch from Vancina in for a strike. Moves the count to 0-1 on Michael Curry. The 0-1 from Vancina, a breaking ball that squirts out of the glove of Gian Martellini. Counts now 1-1. Vancina, a teammate of Will Tribuker's at Michigan, has a 4.07 ERA in the Cape this year, typically a relief guy for this Kettleers squad, as Curry hits a hard foul ball on the third base line. Moves the count to 1-2. In 17 innings pitched, Vancina has 6 walks and 12 strikeouts, as the 1-2 by Curry hit to the shortstop Avant, who can't field it. Tried to backhand it there, and Curry will safely get to first. We'll see how that one scored, but that one hit off the glove of the shortstop for the Kettleers. But he was able to stop it, potentially ruin Curry moving to second there, as that one could have gotten past him. But nevertheless, Michael Curry's now on first. There is no out, and Kyle Datris is up to bat for the Whitecaps.
And they're going to give a hit to Michael Curry, and I think one thing to consider, if Avon doesn't make a play on that, there's a chance he could get into the gap and become some real trouble. So he was able to knock it down, keep it in the infield.
First pitch to Datris on the outside corner. Counts now 1-0. On the third baseman today for the Brewster Whitecaps. He returns from his sister's wedding, as we mentioned. The 1-0. This one hit on the third base line. Hard foul ball. Counts now 1-1. Kyle Datris, as we mentioned, returns from his sister's wedding. They're glad to have him back, but I heard the team kind of making fun of him. Did have to shave his facial hair. I guess his sister didn't quite like that for the wedding. So the count's now 1-1. This one squirts behind Martellini, and Michael Curry will jog into second. That one through the 5-hole of Martellini. You can see him kind of shaking his head. And as he'll go have a quick meeting with Vancina, as a runner in scoring position and no outs to Kyle Datris. Martellini now walking back as Michael Curry took second. Datris now back in the batter's box. That one scored a wild pitch. As Vancina turned around and thought about throwing to second, Michael Curry doesn't have much of a lead. He is a catcher, doesn't look to steal often. Two balls, one strike on Kyle Datris. Datris batting .238 for the Whitecaps. Here comes the 2-1. This one up high. Counts now 3-1 on Datris. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning, and Brewster leads the Cotuit Kettleers 2-0. Next pitch misses downstairs, and Kyle Datris takes first safely. No outs and 2 runners on as Kyle Datris gets on via the walk. And Brewster trying to extend their lead here with Julian Infante coming up to bat. And it looks like there's going to be a conversation on the mound with the entire infield and Vancina. We haven't seen many guys warming up for the Kettleers. This could just be a conversation. We don't see a signal yet. Looks like it is Chase Cohen who's warming up. But again, still no signal, as looks like Rosenberg is going to kind of stroll out there now, try to break up this meeting. Kyle Datris on first, Michael Curry on second for the Whitecaps, and no outs. Julian Infante now up to bat. Infante, a guy that's brought home a lot of runs for the Whitecaps in his short time with Brewster. He's only played 15 games, and he has 11 RBIs, as that meeting will indeed be broken up by Rosenberg. Infante now digging in for the Whitecaps. All of the Kettleers in the infield moving back to their positions. Infante joined the Whitecaps after the home run derby in which he faced off against Chandler Taylor and also Griffin Conine, who's on the Kettleers. That was early July, so as I mentioned, he hasn't been a Whitecap for long, although he was on the team last year. Vancina with the first pitch to Infante, and he'll hit one high into left field. Moving back is Kinnaman, and that one will hit the wall. Julian Infante will move to second. Michael Curry's wheeling home, and he'll slide in and be safe. So another RBI for Julian Infante. He will drive home Michael Curry, and this is a 3-0 game.
Well, that's another piece of clutch hitting. You said it, Maura, from Julian Infante. That one came very close to getting out of the ballpark altogether. This has been a good day, I think, for Brewster Whitecaps' timely hitting so far. They've been able to get some base runners on, but had a kind of a dearth in those past few frames, but they've been able to get it when they needed to. They had the single from Graffinino and Malfetta back-to-back in the second, now a hard hit double from Infante. This is the way you like to see your team drive in some runs if you're Jamie Shevchik.
Julian Infante at second. Kyle Datris now at third, 90 feet away, as Justin Coons now up to bat for the Whitecaps. First pitch to Coons is below the knees, counts now 1-0, and there is no outs in this bottom of the sixth inning. Runners on second and third. This is Vancina's first inning of work, replacing Kitchen, as Coons, yet again, someone fouls one right to Smythe, who just hops over it on the third base line. Some nice agility from the third base coach of the Brewster Whitecaps.
Yeah, Smythe's looking a little cold over there with his hands in his pockets of his teal hoodie out there. But able to show, as you said, some movement.
1 ball, 1 strike. It is only 59 degrees here at Stony Brook Field, as Coons will foul this one on the first base side high and to the hill. Counts now 1-2 on the catcher today for the Brewster Whitecaps. He does have a big double to his name today in the second inning, was able to come home after A.J. Graffinino had a single that brought him home. Counts now 1-2. This one misses on the outside corner, evens the count at 2-2. Justin Coons trying to hit his 8th RBI. He does have 3 home runs on the year. Perhaps not somebody Jamie Shevchik expected to hit that many home runs, but Coons has showed up in big moments, as he'll hit one to the pitcher, Vancina, who makes a throw over to first and completes the first out of this bottom of the sixth inning. No movement from runners on second and third, as A.J. Graffinino now gets set to bat for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, give Coons credit for hustling down the line there, but just not able to, as you said, more move those runners up with the infield in here and less than 2 outs. You really want to try and get that baseball out of the infield. Coons not able to quite get the job done.
Brewster leads 3-0 after we just saw Michael Curry score on a Julian Infante RBI double. First pitch to A.J. Graffinino below the knees, counts now 1-0. That one a called strike, so counts 0-1. Graffinino getting ready. Here comes the 0-1. That one again fouled to Smythe, who again shows off that amazing agility. Counts now 0-2 though to A.J. Graffinino. You said Smythe might be a little cold. Might be warming up with all those hard hit foul balls coming towards him. 1 out. Count 0-2. Runners on second and third. A.J. Graffinino trying to get his ninth RBI with Kyle Datris at third, as this next pitch is fouled straight into the netting behind him. A.J. Graffinino staying alive in this at-bat against Vancina. Graffinino, as I mentioned, already has an RBI today. In the second inning, brought home Justin Coons, and in the fourth inning, was struck out by Kitchen, as he'll hit one high into center. Moving back is Janista, who makes the grab, but Kyle Datris will score on a sacrifice fly ball, so A.J. Graffinino gets his second RBI of the day, and it's now a 4-0 game. Brewster on top of Cotuit.
just doing his job there. We've seen a lot of those from Brewster. I think they still lead the Cape League in sacrifice flies so far this season due to the Brewster Whitecaps. Kind of a strange thing, but that's kind of the offense that they've had, right? They've put a lot of base runners on, including via the walk. We saw an infield single and a walk to set the table in this inning, and that's kind of one way that they've been bringing him in.
And now it's going to be Christian Molfetta's turn. Julian Infante did not move from second, so there's still a runner in scoring position for the Whitecaps, as we just saw Kyle Datris come home. First pitch to Christian Molfetta is way outside for ball one. Molfetta also has an RBI to his name today. Was able to bring home AJ Graffinino. The 1-0. This one hit high and will go again to the hill on the first base line. Counts now 1-1 to Molfetta, who's playing second base today. Typically fills in for Nick Dunn whenever Nick Dunn needs a day off there at second. In his last at-bat, Molfetta had a 4-3 ground out to second base. That was in the 5th inning. As, again, Molfetta will foul this one, chop it behind him. Count still 1-2. The Brewster Whitecaps are up 4-0 on the Cotuit Kettleers. Brewster trying to get their first win against the Kettleers of the year. They've dropped 3 to Cotuit already. This is the last matchup of these two teams. As Molfetta will call for time. In the batter's box, counts now 1-2. Bancina ready on the mound. Here comes the 1-2. And Molfetta will again foul it behind him and stay alive in this at-bat. Counts 1-2. Jamie Shevchik had the top of the order be the meat of the order, as once again Molfetta will foul it. This one hard on the third base line. He specially designed it that way, wanted Chandler Taylor, Marty Costas, and at the time Steele Walker, who went out with an injury, to be at the top of the order, but ironically it's been kind of the bottom of the order that has gotten most of the offense for Brewster. As I mentioned, AJ Graffinino has 2 RBIs, Justin Coons with a double to his name. They're all hitting at the bottom of the order. Christian Molfetta, the very bottom of the order, the number 9 hitter today. He also has an RBI, as I mentioned. He steps out of the batter's box. Count still 1-2. Here comes the 1-2. A swing and a miss from Molfetta. That one dropped as Martellini will have to make the throw. But regardless, that is going to be a strikeout. That ends an inning, but Brewster scores 2 runs, and they go up 4-0 on the Cotuit Kettleers. We're through 6 innings of play. Keep watching us on Lower Cape TV and Channel 99 and streaming live on YouTube.
Okay, we welcome you back to Stony Brook Field here in Brewster. It's 2-0 as we start at the top of the 7th. We mentioned there's been some strain on the Whitecaps pitching staff. Stephen Jones and Davis Daniel both being released before the ball game today. Let's send it over to Aiden Doyle with a little bit more on how the coaching staff is handling that. Aiden?
Who both were released due to arm injuries, but there are more arms on the way, so Whitecaps fans have no need to worry. Zach Schneider out of Polk State Junior College, who's actually headed to Florida Atlantic next year, is on his way, should be getting here in the next couple of days. And then Ryan Sear out of Mississippi State should be getting here by the weekend. So while they may be depleted right now, they've got a couple of arms on the way. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Aiden. It's hard times here as we head to the stretch run of the Cape League in terms of roster construction. Tony Losi is still on the mound for Brewster, and the first pitch misses down and away to Michael Toglia as we, as I mentioned, begin the top of the 7th inning. It is 4-0. Brewster is on top. The pitch is in there for a fastball, strike number 2. 1-2 now the count on Toglia, who so far today has a walk. That's the only time he's reached base. He's 0 for 1 with that free pass. 1-2 pitch misses low. Tony Losi, up to this point, has retired 8 in a row and has not surrendered a hit since Taryn Vavra led off the 2nd inning with a single. It's been pretty much smooth sailing for him. 2-2 pitch is fouled in the ground, left side, fielded over there by the third baseman, Datris, and he throws across in time for the out. Just got the end of the bat, but pushed it into fair territory, did Toglia. So that is out number 1 here of the 7th inning, as Taryn Vavra will dig in. The Whitecaps got 2 in the 2nd and 2 recently in the bottom of the 6th for their 4 runs. It was back-to-back singles from Graffinino and Malfetta that put the 2 spot up in the 2nd inning for Brewster, and then a double from Infante and a sac fly from Graffinino again made it 4-0. First pitch swing, hit on the ground to second base. Malfetta fields, throws to first base, and retires Taryn Vavra, who is now 1 for 3 today with that ground ball. And there are 2 gone here in the top of the 7th.
Well, with such a depleted bullpen and a changing starting rotation every day, I'm sure Jamie Shevchik is very happy with what he's seeing from Tony Losi right now. You know, just 1 out away from going 7 full innings.
Losi has always been one that's been able to battle and get innings for Brewster, but it's been so much easier when it's been like today when his stuff is really working. The first pitch misses just a bit inside to Brett Kinnaman. Kinnaman hitting from the left side up against Tony Losi. 1-0 pitch. That's in there for a called strike. From the outside edge, 1-1 now the count. Kinnaman is 0 for 2. His last time up, he was struck out swinging on a Tony Losi curveball. Here comes the 1-1 offering. Just misses off the plate outside. Makes the count 2-1. Losi nodding his head, trying to get himself back into the moment there as he, again, looked a little bit frustrated with the call. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. It's hit high in the air, but foul toward the right side. That was a fastball well up out of the zone, maybe even at chin or eye level from Kinnaman, but he went after it and nearly got around on the ball. In any case, the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Kinnaman here in the top of the 7th inning. Brewster is ahead 4-0 here on Lower Cape TV channel 99. And here comes the 2-2 pitch. Skips in the dirt for ball 3. I haven't seen a lot of that from Tony Losi. That's something that we grew accustomed to seeing when his stuff isn't working quite well enough. Pitches going only 59 feet. But so far today, he's been able to hit his spots pretty darn well, especially in these past few frames. At a time when, as you mentioned, more Brewster has really needed it, as a baseball kind of squirted out from the Brewster bullpen in left field, so they had to retrieve that. And here comes the 3-2 pitch. In there, called strike 3, outer edge. Kinnaman threw his bat away. Not sure how we thought about that call, but it was a terrific pitch there from Losi. Hit the spot from Coons, and it's a very quick 1-2-3 top of the 7th inning. We're through 6.5. It's time to stretch here at Stony Brook Field, and the Whitecaps still lead 4-0. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball, live on Lower Cape TV channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. We welcome you back to Stony Brook Field, starting the bottom of the 7th inning. It will be the top of the Whitecaps order: Bishop, Taylor, and Costas, after Steele Walker left after his first plate appearance re-aggravated that Achilles soreness that he's been dealing with the past few days, and so Hunter Bishop is in his place. And speaking of in his place, Kyle Kemp is on in Vancina's place, a new pitcher for Cotuit, the right-hander out of Lipscomb University. And Kemp will pitch out of a stretch despite the fact that the bases are empty, and the pitch to Hunter Bishop misses low to the lefty to start off his at-bat. So 1-0 is the count on Bishop. For Kemp, this is appearance number 9 on the Cape this season. He has a .462 ERA, giving up 11 hits in 11 2/3 innings pitched. And here comes the 1-0 offering. It's in there for a called strike on the inside corner. Kemp has walked 9 and struck out 12 in those 11 2 2/3, so he got the stuff, but the control has been a bit lacking so far on the Cape. Waiting on a 1-1 pitch to Bishop. Here it comes. Fastball just misses off the outer edge. That one in at 90 makes the count 2 balls and 1 strike on Bishop. Bishop first came in as a replacement for Walker in the 2nd inning. Since then, he's 0 for 2 with a couple of ground balls. 2-1 is the count. And here comes the pitch. Misses outside. 3-1 now the count. Whitecaps up 4-0. It's been a terrific day for Tony Losi on the mound for Brewster. And for Cotuit, it's been a pretty darn good day as well, though Vancina did run into some trouble in that 6th inning. 3-1 is the count on Bishop. Here comes the pitch. It's in there for called strike 2. Bishop was ready to head over to first base with a walk, but instead will have to face a payoff pitch. The full line on Vancina for this ball game: 1 inning pitch, 2 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned. He walked 1 and struck out 1. But still, the pitcher of record right now is Kitchen, who went the first 5 innings of this ball game for Cotuit. 3-2 is the count. The pitch to Bishop. This is outside for ball 4, so Bishop does get that walk he was looking for after all. That's the 4th walk of the game for Brewster at the plate. Kind of getting back a little bit more to their old ways here in the top of the 7th inning. Brewster's walk to strikeout ratio during this 5-game winless streak that they are on, not what we've been accustomed to seeing from Brewster. 36 strikeouts against 13 walks in those 5 ball games. Used to seeing something more like a little under 2-1 in terms of strikeouts to walks. They have a lot of both this season. Here's Chandler Taylor digging in from the left side. With Bishop aboard first, the pitch. Swing and a miss. Another one in there at 90, and Taylor couldn't time it. 0-1 is the count. Bishop aboard first base does have some speed to him, though he has had trouble picking his spots when he's tried to run so far this season. He is 3 out of 7 stealing bases. They're going to check on him, and he just does get back in time. Looks like he might have been leaning just a little bit there at first base. A nice throw from Kyle Kemp to try and send him diving back, but he was safe. 0-1 the count on Chandler Taylor. Kemp gets the sign he likes, now holds the set, and will check the runner again. And again, diving back just in time is Bishop. Kemp is a rising junior from Port Charlotte, Florida. As mentioned, out of Lipscomb, a program that's on the rise. We've seen a few Lipscomb products on the Cape here the past couple of seasons. 0-1 the count, holding the set again is Kemp. Here comes the pitch. Runner's going for second. The pitch is hit on the ground, and it's past the first baseman Toglia and into right field down the line. Motoring around second base is Bishop. He's going to be held up at third by Ryan Smythe. It's a hard hit single down the line for Taylor, if that is indeed how it's scored. No scoring has come in, but in any case, it's now first and third and nobody out for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, Toglia seemed kind of shocked that he wasn't able to glove that. It barely bounced off him. It really looked like he did have it. He seemed convinced that he had it, and just kind of shaking his head now as we'll see how that's scored. It was very hard hit, and we saw that hard hit ball to short too also be scored a hit, so
right.
We'll see how this one's scored.
And Matt has scored a hit. Just came through from Brian Clemenson, our official scorer here in Brewster. And I think you're right, Maura, but that was right in line with what we saw a little bit earlier, where it was Avent who was knocking down a hard hit baseball that was off the bat of Michael Curry. That was previous frame in the 6th inning. It was scored an infield hit when he was just able to knock it down, nothing more. Anyway, here's Marty Costas. He's in a dream scenario. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. The Whitecaps looking to add to a 4-0 lead in the bottom of the 7th inning. The pitch to the righty, Costas misses, and the count is 1-0. You have to think that Chandler Taylor is going to be going at some point from first base. 2 speedy runners on 1st and 3rd. You know, Katuitt wouldn't want to risk having Bishop break for the plate after Taylor draws a throw. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It's in there for a called strike on the inside corner to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike on Costas. So far today for Marty, he's 0 for 2. He did draw a walk in the 3rd, but then was caught stealing for the first time all year in that 3rd inning. Trying to get into second base. 1-1 is the count on the man out of Maryland. Kemp holding the set. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Out in front of that one. Off-speed offering to make the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. More, as you mentioned, these 2 teams have been 3 previous times this year, and Brewster's lost all 3. And Jamie Shevchik, we've talked to him about the doubleheader these teams played in Katuitt on June 18th. Both 1-run losses for Brewster, and 2 games that Jamie Shevchik says the team might wish they had back. 1-2 pitches in there for a called strike 3. Marty Costas gives a long look to home plate ump Larry Rosenberg, but will head back to the dugout. Strikeout number 1 for Kyle Kemp since he entered this game to start this frame. The first out of the bottom of the 7th. Marty Costas has not had the best day with umpires so far in this game. When he was tagged out at second base trying to steal, he didn't think he was out. He thought he got in under the tag. Here's Michael Curry hitting from the right side. A big spot for him out of that infield single, as you mentioned, his last time up. 1st and 3rd, 1 man out. Here comes the pitch. It's an off-speed pitch that misses outside to make the count 1 ball and no strikes. Brewster is ahead 4-0. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Whitecaps so far getting a terrific start from Tony Losi on the mound. And the offense has done enough. They've put together some timely hits in this ball game. They got 2 in the 2nd and 2 in the 6th. Runners going for second base. Got a terrific jump. The pitch misses inside, and without a throw, it's a stolen base for Chandler Taylor. He was taking off in a hurry. It seems like Chandler Taylor has caught defenses sleeping a few times this season. Has caught guys, ignoring him on the base pass. He's a power hitter by trade, but he has the speed to match. In any case, it's stolen base number 4 for Chandler Taylor this year, and it's now 2nd and 3rd for the Whitecaps with 1 man out.
And that's also the 2nd stolen base for Chandler Taylor today. He had one in the 5th inning.
You're right, so it's number 5 on the season, excuse me. Appreciate that more. This has been a great game for Chandler Taylor. That speed that he has, it helps him when he gets the balls in the outfield. It helps him in situations just like this. Makes him a very complete player. So here's the 2-0 pitch to Curry. And that, too, misses the zone to make it 3 balls and no strikes. Kyle Datris is on deck right now for the Whitecaps with first base open and Curry at the plate. He's done a terrific job drawing walks in the somewhat limited time that he has had this year, digging in for the Whitecaps. 3-0 is the count. Holding the set is Kemp, and here comes the pitch. It misses inside for ball 4. So a walk, a single, and another walk mean its base is loaded with 1 man out, and now Kyle Datris will come up with a chance to drive in a couple of runs. This has been the Brewster offense that we know and love, I think, more from what we've seen earlier in this year. A lot of rallies like this where they've just been able to set the table. And then one thing that they've struggled with pretty much all year is kind of getting the hard hit to clear that table off. And so Kyle Datris comes in, gets a big hoot and a holler from the cheering section over there. Must have some of his folks in the ballpark today. Datris walked his last time up, later came around to score Brewster's 4th run of the game. That was in the previous frame, the 6th inning. We're in the bottom of the 7th, and Brewster leads 4-0. Base is full of Whitecaps. The infield is in. The pitch misses outside. Bishop, who's plenty fast, is at 3rd. Chandler Taylor, who has also got some speed, is at 2nd. Michael Curry, who doesn't have quite as much speed as the other 2 base runners, is aboard at 1st. Certainly, if you're Kemp, you're hoping for a strikeout or a pop fly here. 1-0 pitch. In there for a called strike. A ton of lateral movement on that one. That one started out looking like it might have been on course to hit Kyle Datris, but it just swung in for a strike. So 1 ball, 1 strike on Datris here. 1 man out. Holding the set again is Kemp. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Out in front of that breaking ball was Kyle Datris. He was thinking bases clearing double in the gap, perhaps. He checks over with Larry Rosenberg to see it was a strike, and he does get the nod that yes, it was. 1-2 is the count. On Datris, a big hitter here. The one chance the Whitecaps are going to have to try and drive in a run with the infield still in for Katuitt. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's hit on the ground, and it's going to get into center field for a base hit. 1-run scores. Heading around third base is Chandler Taylor. He will come in to score. It's a 2-run single for Kyle Datris, and the Whitecaps' lead is now 6-0.
Well, even before that hit from Kyle Datris, the Whitecaps have gotten everybody on in this game, minus Steele Walker, who only was at bat once in this game. But this has been a full team effort from the Brewster Whitecaps, something that Jamie Shevchik always stresses. He wants everybody involved, and he's getting that today with a nice hit there from Kyle Datris, just right into the gap there, center field.
RBI is number 6 and 7 for Kyle Datris so far this season. And I mentioned the infield in. That wasn't particularly hard hit, that ground ball, but with the infielders in and that one headed up the middle, there was no way they were going to grab it. So Datris takes advantage. And it's now 6-0 Whitecaps, and in comes Infante, who has an RBI of his own in this ball game on that double in the 6th, and he takes the pitch down and away to make the count 1 ball and no strikes. Infante was 0 for 2 before that double came along, so now nursing a 1-4-3 score line. It's now 6-0 Whitecaps. We're in the bottom of inning number 7 here at Stony Brook Field. Time certainly running out for the Kettleers. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Off the plate for ball number 1, 1-0 the count on Infante. Kyle Kemp's control problems. You mentioned he's got 2 walks here and has a hefty share of walks on the Cape. It showed up in Lipscomb as well. 22 walks in 37 2/3 innings pitched at Lipscomb this past spring. Whitecaps taking advantage of the Achilles heel. 2-0 pitches hit high in the air, sky high out toward left field, but it looks like it's going to be playable for the left fielder Kinnaman, who comes in a couple of steps and makes the play for out number 2. Just got underneath that one, did Julian Infante. That might be the highest fly ball we've seen all ball game, but it's a loud out number 2. And now it's up to Justin Coons to try and increase the tally here for Brewster. 2 runs already in this bottom of the 7th for the Whitecaps, both of them on that single from Kyle Datris. Whitecaps have been spreading the love in terms of runs driven in. Today it was singles from Graffinino and Malfetta in the 2nd inning. That made it 2-0 Brewster, then a double from Infante and a sac fly from Graffinino made it 4-0, and now the 2-run single from Datris makes it 6-0. So plenty of folks for Aiden to interview after this ball game. Here goes the pitch to Coons. Takes the first pitch fastball for strike number 1. 0-1 is the count. We invite you to stick around after the game whenever it does come to its conclusion. Aiden Doyle will have the player of the game and Coach Jamie Shevchik most likely. 0-1 is the count. First and second, 2 men out. The pitch. It hits him. That one just ran in. That looked like we saw earlier that pitch that he threw to Kyle Datris that had lateral movement to cut the inside corner. That one just didn't seem to have any movement to it and hit Justin Coons square in the number 1 on his 14 jersey. He will head over to first base. Looks like he's going to be all right. And it's bases loaded again for A.J. Graffinino. That's the 2nd time Coons has been plunked this season for Brewster. And after a bit of a delay, Graffinino will dig in. Still a big spot for the Whitecaps. It's 6-0 with 2 runs in here in the bottom of the 7th, and the bases are loaded with 2 men out. Graffinino so far today has 2 runs driven in already, looking for his 3rd RBI hit of this game. And the pitch misses up and away. Of course, it wasn't quite a hit in the 6th inning, the sacrifice fly, but has an Uribe single and a sac fly today. The shortstop out of Washington. 1-0 is the count. Kyle Kemp holds the set and deals 1-0. It's in there for a called strike at the knees. So 1-1 the count on Graffinino. The Katuitt bullpen, from what we can see it from our vantage point, is idle at the moment. Nobody's warming, and It kind of gives you a sense of the game and the season for the Kettleers. They're low on arms just like Brewster, and this game's starting to slip away a bit from Katuitt here in the 7th inning. The 1-1 pitch comes along. It's hit high in the air but foul left side. So it's 1-2 now on A.J. Graffinino.
And it looks like Will Tribuker is warming up for the Brewster Whitecaps over there in the bullpen on the third base line.
You wonder if Tony Losi was thinking about going out for the 8th inning, if that might have changed by this long half inning here in the bottom of the 7th, one of the longer half innings we've seen all ball game. 1-2 is the count. Here comes the pitch to Graffinino. It misses outside to make the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, I think Tony Losi is thinking about going out for the 8th inning. It's whether or not Jamie Shevchik is thinking about that, because I think Tony's one of those guys that he'll go out there. He always wants to get out there on the mound no matter what.
That's the kind of guy Jamie Shevchik likes. He likes guys who are willing to make sacrifices for the team. 2-2 is the count on Graffinino. Bases full of Whitecaps. The pitch just misses outside. That was a good pitch from Kyle Kemp. He thought it was good enough to get him out of the inning. He took a couple of steps away from the pitcher's mound, but does not get the call, and the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Brewster is ahead 6-0. With 2 runs in for the Whitecaps here in the bottom of this 7th inning. Graffinino waiting on a payoff pitch. The runners will all be going here with the count full and 2 men out. Holding the set is Kemp. Here comes the pitch. It misses up and away for ball 4. A bases loaded walk, and Brewster extends the lead to 7-0. A.J. Graffinino now has 3 ribbies on 3 separate plays today. A hit, a sac fly, and a walk. He's doing it all for Brewster, and the Whitecaps extend their advantage, 7-0. The bases loaded walk really feels like it's been a club in the Whitecaps bag so far this year in terms of just driving in runs, and now Christian Malfetta, who has a ribby single of his own today, will dig in. And so far, this is turning into a great day for the Brewster Whitecaps offense. We have only seen 2 extra base hits. We saw a double from Coons and then the ribby double from Infante in the 6th inning. The rest has just been moving guys around. The first pitch to Malfetta misses outside on an off-speed offering to make the count 1-0 on the Stanford product. Brewster has batted around in this frame. Malfetta is the 9th hitter to come to the plate for the Whitecaps. And the bases remain loaded. Datris is on 3rd, Coons at 2nd, and Graffinino on 1st. The 1-0 pitch misses inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Kyle Kemp really having trouble finding the strike zone here. And Gian Martellini's going to go out and have a chat with him. It does look like there is some activity out there in the Kettleer pen. 2-0 is the count on Christian Malfetta. 3 pitchers have already been used by Mike Roberts in this ballgame. Kitchen went the first 5 innings, which was a bit longer than many expected him to go in his first start in the calendar year 2017. Vancina had an inning of work and gave up 2 runs, and now Kyle Kemp was called on to relieve him and has given up 3 runs. With this inning still ongoing, 2-0 the count, bases loaded, 2 men out. Here comes the pitch to Malfetta. It's hit high in the air, foul, ground right side, out of play. 2-1 is the count. Well, of course, all that adds up to a 7-0 Whitecap lead here in the bottom of this 7th inning. A day where it feels like the Whitecaps have been due for some chance to go their way. 2-1 is the count. Kemp staring in, gets the sign from Martellini, shakes it off, gets another one, nods his head, and now holds the set. 2-1 is the count. Here comes the pitch. It's at high in the air, right side, shallow right field. Moving over is the first baseman, Toglia, now into foul ground, and he makes the catch on the warning track a couple of steps from the line, denoting the out-of-play boundary to retire the side. So the Whitecaps send 9 men to the plate and get 3 runs in this 7th inning. They get them on just 2 hits and may leave the bases loaded. At the end of 7 full innings of play, it's 7-0 Whitecaps. You're watching Brewster Whitecaps baseball on Lower Cape TV, Channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. We welcome you back to Stony Brook Field. We're starting the top of the 8th, and Tony Losi is back on the mound for the Brewster Whitecaps, trying to put together the longest outing from any Whitecap this season. He's starting the 8th inning. He has thrown 7 brilliant shutout innings for the Brewster Whitecaps in this game, and his offense has come to play as well. The Whitecaps lead 7-0 here in the top of the 8th. Due up for Kettleers. They'll start things off with Alexander, then Avent, and then Zach Cohn. And the first pitch misses down and in to the righty swinging Luke Alexander. 1-0 the count on the Kettleers third baseman, and quickly here's the 1-0 pitch. Again, it misses down and in. Very similar looking pitch there from Tony Losi. The pitch count for Tony Losi is now up to 111, or 111, yes, 2-0 pitch. Lifted high in the air, right side, heading toward foul ground, and that will head out of play. Infante chased it anyway, but wound up having to contend with some fans out there. That was 1-0. 102 for Losi. So 102 is the count now for Tony Losi. 2-1 is the count on Luke Alexander. Whitecaps got 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 6th, and 3 more in the 7th inning to take their 7-0 lead. Here on top of Kettleers on a chilly day at Stony Brook Field, but one that looks like it's going to give us enough light to finish this ball game out. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. It's hit hard, a one-hopper, and it's off the glove of Graffinino and into left field for a base hit. Luke Alexander absolutely smoked that ball. We'll see how they score that. And it is indeed a base hit. Second time we've seen a shortstop get kind of eaten up by a ball and have it be scored a hit. We saw that earlier in this game when it was Avent for Kettleers, and it's a leadoff single for Alexander. Just what you need if you're going to try and make a comeback. Of course, Brewster is well aware of the possibility of a comeback in this ball game. Remember, the Whitecaps were trailing 10-2 against the Harwich Mariners earlier. That was back on Sunday, a week ago Sunday. They were down 10-2 at the 7th inning stretch, wound up winning 11-10-8. We have a pinch hitter for the Kettleers. John Cresto is hitting for Chandler Avent, and the pitch to the righty hitter misses down and in. So the count now 1 ball and no strikes on Cresto, who's hitting .287 on the season, a .361 OBP, has 3 homers and 15 runs batted in. The 1-0 pitch again misses down and in. Make the count 2-0, and Coons will head out to talk to Tony Losi. Looks like Tribuker is still, or no, that's going to be, Tribuker is sat down out there in the Whitecaps bullpen. And it looks like he's been replaced by Matt Beck, who is out there throwing for the Whitecaps.
Well, you got to wonder if Tony Losi coming out in this 8th inning changed the plan for the Whitecaps, but I got to imagine he is on a tight leash here.
Pitch to the right, he skips in front of Coons, gets away from him for a moment, scrambling into second base, and getting in there safely is Luke Alexander on the wild pitch. So it looks like Tony Losi's command, maybe not quite as sharp in this 8th frame as it was when he retired 11 in a row coming into this inning. So now Alexander is aboard second base. The count is 3-0 on John Cresto with still nobody out. It's 7-0 Whitecaps, top of the 8th. The pitch misses inside for ball number 4. So Avent reaches on the walk for Tony Losi. That is just the 2nd walk that he's surrendered in this ball game. And so it's quickly now 1st and 2nd and nobody out for Kettleers as Zach Cohn will dig in. We'll see whether Jamie Shevchik decides to bring out the hook. In any case, Matthew Beck, when he's been called upon for Brewster, has kind of been their guy to finish out games. You have to imagine when he comes in, whether it's now, it won't be now, as Losi's going to pitch to Zach Cohn. Here comes the pitch to the righty, and it's in there for a called strike on the inside corner to make the count 0-1 on Cohn. Whether it comes this inning or for the 9th, they're going to want him to close the door. He's had a few good outings. I remember when we were in Harwich and he went 4 innings to close out a game. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Just misses low and inside. Losi with a smile toward Larry Rosenberg, the home plate ump. That's a call he's been trying to get all game, and Rosenberg has been consistent with it. He has not budged. 1-1 is the count. It's 1st and 2nd, no one out. Losi nods toward Coons and is ready to deal to the righty Zach Cohn. The pitch misses again, down and in. That's where that fastball has been landing for pretty much this entire frame for Tony Losi. Zach Cohn is 0 for 2, a ground ball and a strikeout swinging against Tony Losi. Ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Losey comes set. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. It's a looper into shallow right field. Coming in is Chandler Taylor. Moving out is the first baseman, Infante. And Infante can't make the play. Did it drop? They're going to say he got it in fair territory for out number 1. A nice play by Infante. Run that one down. A frantic signal from first base ump Mark Chamberlain, but just ruling that he was in fair territory when he caught the baseball. Nice job over the shoulder from Infante. Almost had to run into some sun there, from shadow to sunlight. But in the end of the day, it's out number 1. Now the 9-hitter Gian Martellini is due up. Tony Losey is a ground ball away from getting a double play that would give him 8 shutout innings, and Martellini hits this one high in the air, sky high toward right center field. Moving to his left is Hunter Bishop. Now comes in a bit and makes the catch. Tagging from second base and moving over to third is Alexander, but throw will come in late, so he will get in there safely, will Alexander. So that's allowed out number 2, and it's first and third with 2 men out now for the Kettleers. And we're back to the top of the Cotuit batting order now with Griffin Conine. One of the tougher guys to face on the Cape League. As Justin Coons was looking into the dugout, he's now going to give some signals to his infield. Got the signals first from the Whitecaps dugout and now is ready to relay them. First and third, 2 men out. We are in the top of the 8th inning. It's 7-0. The Whitecaps are ahead. Losey nods, gets the sign he likes, now holds the set. Here comes the pitch. Misses outside. Losey cocking his head, saying, okay, let's try that one more time. 1-0 is the count. You could tell Losey really wants to get through 8 here. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Again, it misses just a bit outside. And again, a little smile from Tony Losey. The count 2 balls and no strikes. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Check swing on a pitch that was low. Will they appeal? They will not. 3-0 is the count. So far today for Martellini, or for Conine, excuse me, a single, a walk, and a flyout to center field. And the 3-0 pitch is in there for a strike on pitch number 116 from Tony Losey to make it 3-1. First and third with 2 men out. Losey's ready to go. Here comes the pitch. It's a high chopper toward the right side. Charging is the second baseman, Malfetta. He scoops, he throws, and the throw is in time for the out. And Tony Losey fist pumps to get through 8 shutout innings. A terrific performance tonight from the man out of Georgia. One of the best pitching performances we've seen from any Whitecap this season. And the Whitecaps lead 7-0 at the end of 7.5. In the top of the 8th inning for Cotuit, they get no runs on 1 hit and leave 2. This is Brewster Whitecaps baseball on Lower Cape TV, channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. Visit Stars Restaurant at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa for a world-class dining experience. A proud member of leading hotels of the world. We're going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Brewster leads 7-0. Carter Badil and Morris Sheridan here with you. Kyle Kemp's day is done. He's replaced by Christian Demby on the mound for Katuitt. Kemp went an inning, gave up 1 hit, 3 runs. Only 1 was earned. There was a scoring change. They gave an error to Toglia that allowed Chandler Taylor to reach, so only 1 run was earned. He walked 3 and struck out 1, did Kyle Kemp, and gives way to Demby. This is appearance number 11 for Christian Demby. He will face the top of the Whitecap order, starting with Bishop, who laces one down the right field line. It's a fair ball rolling into the right field corner. Bishop is heading around first base. He's getting into second. The throw will come in from the right fielder, Conine, but Bishop slides in safely with a leadoff double. So Bishop wasting no time to welcome Christian Demby to this particular appearance. A hard hit 2-bagger to start things off for the Whitecaps here in the bottom of the 8th. It's been a terrific day for Brewster Tony Losi with 8 shutout innings. And a pinch hitter is in, is now Devin Foyle is going to be hitting for Chandler Taylor now for the Whitecaps as Jamie Shevchik is giving Foyle an at-bat. And it looks like there could be more pinch hitting on the horizon as Zach Hagen is taking some hacks on deck circle for Brewster. So we've seen this a few times from Jamie Shevchik, where when a game is not particularly close, as the Whitecaps lead 7-0 in the bottom of the 8th, he likes to give folks some playing time. So the pitch to Foyle, which from the left side is fouled away. Foyle, a switch hitter, batting left against the righty Christian Demby. So far on this ball game, or on the season rather, for Devin Foyle, hitting just 154, a 250 on-base percentage, 1 run driven in, still no home runs for the man from Kansas. Runner on second base, no one out, the 0-1 pitch. Misses outside. Brewster is ahead 7-0 here in the bottom of the 8th. 1-1 is the count now on Devin Foyle. Demby out of NC State. One of the Wolfpack players that played that winner-take-all game in Lexington in the NCAA Regionals. 1-1 pitch is hit hard, and it's one hopper, not fielded well by the second baseman, Vavra. He recovers and throws to first base, and it's not in time. That just barely did not get it, and we'll see how that scored. That might be an E4 on the second baseman, Vavra. He was able to knock it down. He kept it in front of him and recovered, but Foyle just had too much speed on that play. So it's first and third, and no one out now for the Brewster Whitecaps here in the bottom of the 8th. They are threading for more, and Zach Hagen will indeed come in to pinch hit for Costas. That is scored in E4. Second Katuitt error in this ball game. Brewster has played errorless ball up to this point. And Gehagen will come in. Presumably Foyle will go. Foyle and Gehagen will both go out into the outfield just to play for the people that they hit for. Gehagen can play anywhere. He has spent some time in left field for the Whitecaps this year. Pitch to the righty, misses high and tight. Had to duck a little bit, did the UNC product. Count as 1 ball and no strikes. Kind of a playful gesture there towards the pitcher, Christian Demby. There is a bit of a rivalry in this at-bat. Demby's from NC State and Gehagen's from UNC. So 2 schools that aren't quite fans of each other. There's a bit of a stoppage in play. I think that Gehagen is gesturing out to some fans beyond the center field wall. There are a couple of fans out there on that little seating area out in center field, right in dead center, and I guess Zach Gehagen is saying that they're in his batter's eye. If you're watching on Lower Cape TV, you can see them. They're right smack dab in the middle of center field in that little hole, just a little bit toward the left of the flagpole out there in the outfield. And I guess Gehagen's telling them to just stay still or what have you. The signal came through from Larry Rosenberg, the home plate up. Haven't seen that before this year. 1-0 pitch is swung on and missed by Gehagen to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike. It can be distracting. It looks like one of the guys out there is wearing Kettleer maroon, so perhaps an ulterior motive? I wouldn't accuse a fan of that. 1-1 is the count. That's one of the nice little things about baseball. I know at Eldridge Park in Orleans, 1-1 is the count here. As we're waiting on the pitch, here it comes. It misses inside. Whitecaps are up 7-0 here in the bottom of the 8th. At Eldridge Park, they have a roadway beyond the outfield wall, and players would complain, because they play night games over in Orleans, about cars' headlights when they were driving back around. So just this year, they put a new batter's eye in to shield all that. 2-1 pitch is a slow roller toward the left side. Charging is the third baseman, Alexander. He barehands it. He throws across. It won't be in time, and it gets past the first baseman, Toglia, and over into the by the dugout on the right side. It's going to be out of play. Gehagen will be able to move to second. Devin Foyle is going to be able to jog home from third. So 2 runs come in to score on the play, and the Whitecaps now lead 9-0 on what's been scored an error. What an unusual inning. 2 errors here from Kettleers. We'll see exactly who that is on, whether that's on the third baseman Alexander or the first baseman Toglia. It looked like Toglia had a play on that ball. Was never going to beat Gehagen to the bag. So I would assume that Gehagen's been given a signal, which he has. But they have not told us who the error is on here on our scoring system. 2-1 is the count, or no, it's not. The pitch is fouled high in the air by off the bat of Michael Curry. It's 9-0. We know that. Brewster has now scored in 3 straight frames. They got 2 in the 6th. They got 3 in the 7th. They have 2 here in the bottom of inning number 8. Gehagen is on second base. He's the only base runner, and there's still nobody out. Michael Curry digging in. 0-1 is the count. Here comes the pitch. It's hit high in the air into left center field. It's playable, though. Coming in a couple of steps is the left fielder, Kinnaman, and he makes the play for out number 1.
Just to point out, that was Zach Hagen's first RBI of the year. And for a guy that Coach Jamie Shevchik always talks about as a leader, it's nice to see him finally, get on that stat sheet and get in that column.
And well, I don't think they gave him an RBI on that. Well, they haven't. Well, we'll see. We'll see how the scoring shakes out, because that might have the error might have been what caused the runs to come in. In any case, it's 9-0. This is a very strange scoring decision that's coming in from upstairs. Kyle Datris is hitting for Brewster. 1 man out. We're in the bottom of the 8th, and the Whitecaps offense has had one of the better days, I think, more that it's had all year. Datris so far today, last time he got up, he hit a 2-run single. Part of that 3-run 7th inning where Brewster set 9 hitters to the plate. The pitch is in there for a strike at the knees to make the count 0-1. Demby, the pitcher, is a rising junior from Raleigh, North Carolina, so staying at home to play at NC State. As the 0-1 pitch is fouled away toward the right side by Datris, who kind of had a look in his face that looked like he just missed something. Doing a little bunny hop in front of home plate. 0-2 is the count, as Datris tries to get back into it. Gehagen is on second base. 9-0 Brewster, bottom of the 8th. Holding the set now is Christian Demby. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss, a high fastball, and Kyle Datris went after it. So first strikeout for Demby, second out of the bottom of the 8th, and now Infante will dig in for Brewster.
And you were talking about getting everybody involved in this offense really showing up today. Everybody, including the people that subbed in today, has gotten on in some way, shape, or form. Coach Jamie Shevchik's got to be happy with that.
Hit on the ground sharply off the bat of Infante. Can't be fielded immediately by Alexander, and he will just have to take a bite out of that. It's a... Well, we'll see how they scored that one as well. Infante reaches first base. Moving to third is Gehagen. A hard-hit ball, no matter what it is. Infante reaches for the second time in this ball game tonight. It's been an all-around effort from Brewster in this game. It is scored an error. Number 4 for Kettleers in this game, and number 3 for them in this 8th inning. First and third, and 2 men out on the E5. And now, of course, anything that scores in this game is going to be an unearned run. In this inning, I mean. Coons takes a fastball outside to start his at-bat off. Coons has a double. It's the only hit that he has to his name. He's 1-for-3. Also was hit by a pitch. That was his last time up. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Misses inside. Make the count 2 balls and no strikes. Whitecaps looking to move to 16, 18, and 2 if they can hang on and win this ball game. They lead 9-0 here in the bottom of the 8th. They'll be back in action for a very important game tomorrow as the 2-0 pitch misses down and in to make the count 3 balls and no strikes. Tomorrow, the Chatham Anglers are in town. I know, Maura, we've talked a lot about how Coach Shevchik has talked a lot about how the games in the division are so important for this Whitecaps team. 3-0 pitch. That's a called strike. 3-1 is the count.
And of course the division games are important, but for a team that hasn't won in a week, you're going to take a win if this one pans out, no matter who it's against.
The 3-1 pitch is grounded foul softly, left side. So that brings the count full. That means Infante is going to be going now from first base. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 men out. First and third and 2 runners out in this bottom of the 8th inning. Holding the set now is Christian Demby. And here comes the 3-2 pitch. It's again grounded softly foul, left side. That's kind of been Coons' MO all season. He's very good at spoiling tough pitches. That's kind of been one of the reasons why he's put together a better than expected season for the Whitecaps at the plate this year. Another payoff pitch is on the way here from Demby. Here it comes. Swing and a miss, he got him. So 2 strikeouts for the final 2 outs of this 8th inning for Christian Demby, but that's it. The Whitecaps get 2 runs across in this bottom of the 8th inning. They leave 2 runners on first and third. We're finished with 8 innings of play, and the Whitecaps now lead 9-0. This is Brewster Whitecaps baseball on Lower Cape TV, channel 99, and streaming live on YouTube. After 8 innings of shutout baseball, Tony Losey's day is done here at Stony Brook Field. It's 9-0 Whitecaps as we start the 9th inning. The line on Losey, 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. A terrific performance for the man from Georgia, and he will yield to Matthew Beck, who will face the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the Katuitt lineup, starting with Grayson Genesta, who swings and misses at the first offering to make the count no balls and 1 strike. A wild and wacky bottom of the 8th inning for Brewster, but they did put 2 runs across. The 0-1 pitch is coming in, and it's fouled back to the screen. They did give Zach Gahaven an RBI. I'm sorry, Moore, for stealing your thunder there. They did put it in there at the end of that inning. So 0-2 is now the count after the foul ball from Genesta. Beck is working quickly here. Here comes the pitch. It's hit hard on the ground to second base. It's scooped up there by Malfetta, who throws across to first. It's a low throw, but Infante handles it. And that is out number 1. So far, so good here for Christian Malfetta in this ball game at second base. He's had kind of a rough go of it defensively his last couple of times, as 2 3-error games to his name this season. But today has been sure-handed. And a quick out number 1 here in the top of the 9th. Now it's Toglia's turn to dig in for the Kettleers. Here comes the pitch to the left-hander. It misses outside to make the count 1 ball and no strikes. Toglia has gotten on in this game. One of the 2 walks that Losi gave up was to Toglia. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It misses low on a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. So far for Beck, since he was brought into the fold for Brewster, this is appearance number 4. His ERA is 9. Here comes the 2-0. It's hit high in the air to center field. Moving back is Hunter Bishop, still heading back. He's on his horse. He's heading back to the warning track, and he makes the catch. Terrific job from Hunter Bishop to track that baseball down from the get-go. We're running out of light here at Stony Brook Field, and he was still able to get it. A real hard-hit baseball from Toglia, but it's a loud out number 2, and the Whitecaps are not away from closing the door on the Kettleers here. Quite the piece of hitting there from Toglia. And here is Taran Vavra, who is 1 for 3 at a single in the second inning. And here comes the pitch from Matthew Beck. It's a fastball, and it misses outside to make the count 1 ball and no strikes. Katuitt, unless they can get a miracle comeback here, would fall to 17-17-1. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It's hit hard in the right field. That's going to get down for a base hit. So Vavra says, I won't be the one to make the last out. Hits that one hard to right field. And he is now 2 for 4 on his day. One of the bright spots in the Kettleers offense. And now it's Brett Kinnaman's turn.
Number 7 from NC State left fielder, Brett Kinnaman.
Kinnaman digging in. He is 0 for 3, twice a strikeout victim against Tony Losi in this ball game. Beck stares in, now holds the set. And here comes the first pitch. It's a breaking ball. And it just misses low in the eyes of Larry Rosenberg, who says that one dove below the knees. So the count is 1 ball and no strikes on Kinnaman. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That's in there for a called strike on the inner third. 1-1 the count. Mentioned the ERA is 9 for Matthew Beck. 6 innings pitched, 11 hits for him. He's walked 5 and struck out 4. Those are the numbers for him on the Cape. 1-1 pitch is hit on the ground, right side. Infante backhands it. He will flip to a covering Matt Beck, who will step on the bag for out number 3 to end the ball game. The Brewster Whitecaps put together probably their most comprehensive win of the season. They get a 9-0 victory here against the Katuitt Kettleers behind a stellar outing from Tony Losi and a great balanced attack from the Brewster Whitecaps offense. More of this team was sluggish. This team was running out of energy coming into this game, and everything changed.
Yeah, this is exactly the type of win that you need after, not winning for an entire week. It's not only a 9-0 win, it's a win against a Katuitt team you haven't beat all year. It's a win at home with Chatham, your East Division rival, coming up tomorrow. So, and it's a win coming off an off day, something that Jamie Shevchik, he hates off days. He hates what they do to his team. So all of this is just a positive. Tony Losi on the mound, just absolutely a standout. But regardless, the offense just backed him up with 9 runs today.
Brewster with the victory are now 16-18-2 on the year. We'll have to see how Chatham does a little bit later tonight to see whether they can get above them in the standings today or have to wait till tomorrow or the next day or whenever. Katuitt with a loss, they're back down to 500, 17-17-1 in that parity-driven Western Division. We're not done here tonight. We'll have our post-game show coming up right after this. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on Lower Cape TV, Channel 99. And streaming live on YouTube. A lot to come after this. We're going to have a talk with Jamie Shevchik. We'll see who Aiden Doyle can track down. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to Tony Losi, who just spun a gem for the Whitecaps in this ball game. We're back right after this on Lower Cape TV and YouTube. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more for you. We're back at Stony Brook Field. The final score, once again, the Whitecaps win it 9-0. Carter Woodeel and Morris Sheridan here with you. A big win for the Whitecaps. They're able to salvage one win in the season series against Kettleers and get the W here behind just a terrific performance from Tony Losi. 8 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 8 shutout innings. He walked 2 and struck out 6, and then Matthew Beck came on to complete what was the second shutout of the year for Brewster Whitecaps pitching. This is huge for the Brewster Whitecaps. I'm sure not just because of this one game, not just because of the game they pick up in the standings, but going into their next few games. I mean, for Jamie Shevchik, this has to be huge, Maura.
Absolutely, and it's good to see everybody getting involved. Marty Costas was the only person that didn't either score a run or have an RBI today of the starters, besides, Steele Walker, who, again, just had one at bat. So everybody got involved, including the guys that came in and like Gahagan and Foyle that were substitutions. It was just a full team effort today.
And we mentioned Tony Losi had a terrific outing as the Brewster Whitecaps starter, and he is now with Aiden Doyle. Aiden?
Thanks, Carter. Here with Brewster starter Tony Losi. Tony, unbelievable performance out there. 8 shutout innings, giving up just 3 hits, struck out 6. What was your mentality coming into the game against the Kettleers today?
I've been working on a lot of things. It's just my preparation getting into the game. When I get in the game, it's just all about pitching. But my preparation leading up to it was get my 2-seam working, get my off-speed working, and just attack low in the zone.
This is your second time facing the Kettleers here at Stony Brook Field this season. First one, not your best start. Wasn't bad, wasn't great. Today, obviously stellar. What did you learn from that first outing that you took into this one against Kettleers?
Yeah, I just took all my outings in consideration and know what I have to do to get better and work on for my next outing. I still got stuff to work on for my next start, and I'll be doing that this week.
The 8th inning, you allowed the first 2 batters to reach. You got out of it, retired the next 3 in order. How did you bear down there and get out of it unscathed?
Oh, that was huge. I just knew they were my runs. If I was going to give them up, I was going to give them up. So I knew I just had to continue to attack the strike zone, load in the zone. I got 3 ground balls and they made the plays for me.
This team so far this season has kind of been decimated when it comes to the pitching staff. A lot of injuries, a lot of guys leaving due to innings limits. Moving forward, you seem to be the guy on this pitching staff. Do you feel any extra responsibility on your shoulders?
No, I don't. I think we all just need to pitch, and I'll just go out there and pitch just like that.
You were also the first one after Matthew Beck retired the last batter in the 9th inning, closing out the game. You were the first one out of the dugout to go congratulate him and dap him up, give him a hug. What was it like seeing your team